Alright. Hi everybody. So finally, it's been a while, but finally we're back with Higurashi. We are on a whopping 36 parts right now. So we spent some time in this village, haven't we? It's taken me quite a long time to work my way through this, but I will eventually get through it, and I am not stopping now. I have gone too far. So yeah, when I went back to streaming, I was like, Higurashi's gotta be one of the things I start getting back into as quick as possible, because I really need to finish this series. For my own sanity, and mostly, but also for the sanity of my followers, who are like, is she ever gonna finish that long-ass series? Yes, I am. The answer is yes. I was thinking about not streaming today because I've been a little bit depressed. But I am starting to feel better. I did some yoga and some meditation, and I think I was able to get a lot of those negative emotions out of my system, so I feel a lot better about everything, and I'm going to be streaming this horrible monstrosity. So it's not the worst thing I've ever most horrific thing I've ever streamed, but definitely there's definitely a lot of horror here, so and we may or may not get to see some of that today. Really just depends on where we are in the story, but we are in Rena's route still. From what I remember, this is like Rena's answer arc to the answer arc to the first chapter, which was mostly about Rena. So we will be I'm just gonna jump right back in. We got through chapter 4, okay, and this is arc/chapter 6. So we're gonna be starting with chapter 5 of arc 6. So I guess let's just get right back into it. Let's see what's going on, because I have no freaking clue. I need a refresher here. I don't remember. It's been a minute.
Ah, そりゃ多分笠井さんだね。シオンの監視役だよ。監視役なの？
I forgot how good the voice acting is. It's really good.
まあね。シオンのやつ、私と比べると突拍子もないことをするからさ。
Crazy things indeed. That last arc proves that.
監視役が必要なわけよ。
ミオンもシオンもその意味においちゃ互角だと思うぞ。
Keiichi-kun cut into the conversation. They ended up making a lot of noise, teasing each other like they always do. Mio made it sound like that man, Kase-san, is some sort of territory boss in Okinomiya. It wouldn't be easy for me to meet him in person. But because he's Shichan's watchdog, I might be able to find a way. The problem, though, is that I don't have any connection to Shichan either. We hang around every once in a while whenever she comes to Hinamizawa, but I've never called or visited her. I have no idea how we can meet. Even if I could meet Kase-san, there's no guarantee that he'd help me. He seems like the kind of person who doesn't like to gossip about others. He told me about Rina-san at the coffee house only because Shichan pushed him to. Plus, the situation could grow worse very quickly while I waited for the chance to meet him, so any help he might offer could come too late. I remember Kase-san told me that, as her next stop, Rina-san usually uses her partner to threaten their catch. That would signify the end of her performance. They were going to take all of my father's money. I wasn't feeling a sense of crisis yet, but that time might yet be coming very soon. Even as I was at school taking a class peacefully, That man might already be at the house right this moment, threatening my father to hand over his bank books. As I become anxious, I get more and more anxious. I could feel a big pressure on my chest as if the ceiling had collapsed on me.
いやー、平和すぎて退屈だぜ。
Hi Sonic. So I don't know if there's anyone else in the chat right now. But yeah, I've been as I was saying earlier, I've been a little depressed, but I'm doing a little better, so I decided to go ahead and stream and hopefully, like, you know, distract myself at the very least. And hang out with my friends. Keiichi-kun talks to me, yawning.
そうかな。レナは平和で退屈なの大好きだよ。
俺はごめんだね。せめて火星人が襲来するくらいのことが毎週とは言わないまでにも月末くらいには欲しいところ
At
だ
least at
ぜ。
the end of every month or so.
あ、定期テストはなしてだぜ。
もし本当に火星人が攻めてきて世界中が滅ぼされてひなみ沢も焼け野原になった
Be
ら
careful what you wish for,
ケイチ君は
Keiichi.
退屈が紛れて満足かな
いや、そこまでは言ってねえよ。何かアクシデントの一つもないと退屈で溶けちまいそうだぜって言いたか
Oh,
った
you're
だけ
gonna
だ
get
ぜ。
some excitement, alright, let me tell you. He had no idea what I'd been going through, of course, and that's why he says that. But I was still irritated by his insensitivity. I couldn't understand why he wouldn't be satisfied with such a peaceful life. He never has to doubt that today and tomorrow will be as fun as yesterday. I was all too aware that boring and peaceful days could be destroyed all of a sudden. I know that boring and peaceful days could come to an end all of a sudden because your mom wanted to divorce your dad. I knew that you could feel like you didn't belong anywhere in your own house because your dad had gotten a new girlfriend. Even so, you had to repeat the same kind of day over and over again. Can you hear the music, by the way? The game music, I mean.
レ
Oh,
ナは
wait.
日々が幸せそうでいいよな。
I have the other track going on, which I should not. My apologies. Okay. I'm gonna turn up the audio just a little bit. Okay. It's not a very loud track, but you should be able to hear it a little bit at least. And if it gets too loud, let me know and I can turn it back down. Did I miss anything? Even so, you had to repeat the same kind of day over and over again. That's why I want to live every day happily in order to be prepared when the world comes to an end. It's a facade, Keiichi.
そういうのもスキルなのかな。
そんなの羨ましがられても困
You
るの
shouldn't be. Not at all.
日々を退屈でなく幸せに過ごすのって何かコツでもあるのか？あるなら教えてくれよ。俺も得得してみたいぜ。
そんなの簡単だよ。気づくだけだもん。
気づくって？
There's no way he could realize it. It was probably better that he didn't, because that meant he was truly happy.
気づくだけだよ。幸せな日々が有限であることに。
Don't take anything for granted. That's for sure. This track is gorgeous. The three of us walked home from school like we always did. Goodness, sorry. Michan said goodbye to us at the corner of the street where she took her separate way home. She walked away waving, but I chased after her.
みーちゃん。何？
Michan apparently thought she dropped something and she looked around to see what she dropped.
忘れるところだった。実はね、昨日喫茶店でしーちゃんと笠井さんに会ったの。その時にね、笠井さんの落とし物を拾ったの。
Of course, he hadn't dropped anything. I was lying. If I could meet him, I'd just show him whatever, tell him I thought it was his, and apologize for my mistake.
へえ、あ、そう。それありがとう。届けとくよ。それでね、レナが直接返したいの。
Michan looked surprised. Couldn't blame her. I'd met him only once. It's weird to want to give something back in person to someone you barely know.
まあそりゃ構わないけど、なんでまた。
はあ、サングラスにおひげがね、ちょっぴり可愛かったの。はう。
Could I fudge my true intentions with my cute mode? I tried it anyway. Michan usually takes words at their face value, and indeed she seemed to buy it.
口ひげを引っこ抜いてお持ち帰りしちゃダメだよ。
で、その、どうかな。
Wolfie
会
pads.
えるかな。
Oh, sorry,
忙し
sorry.
いのか暇なのか全然見当つかない人だからね。
I forget that when I move my mouse wheel, it actually makes the text go, so I have to click out of the game to do the redeeming thingies. So I need to remember in my brain to do that. Head patties. Thank you for the head pads. I love the head patties. Let's see. And stretchies and tea time. I'll do the tea time first. I actually am kind of a little bit behind on my water today, so because I woke up late and, you know, because of all the, I wouldn't get out of bed, but thank you. And stretchies. I've done a lot of stretchies today. I did yoga, and then I did my meditation, and I was stretching during my meditations, but all these need more for sure, because I usually am at a computer desk when I'm not working, so my back and shoulders get very, very, very stiff, and I generally really have bad posture in general, so that definitely helps.
今度ひなみ沢に来る用事がないか聞いておくよ。
I need to know when as soon as possible. Of course, I wasn't going to say I wanted to meet him today, but at least tomorrow or the day after tomorrow.
なんだよ、お前ら何やってんだ？
レナがね、新しい恋に目覚めちゃったんだってさ。
違うよ。は
なんだそりゃ、面白そうな話だな。
Am I lagging? I don't think I've ever seen this game lag. That's really odd. I don't want her to leave it up in the air, so I told her I think I should give it back to him as soon as possible. I'm sure he's looking for it too. Michan said okay twice and walked away waving. I hadn't yet thought about how I was going to ask for help when I would meet him. He seems to be in a higher position than Rina-san and her partner. If he agreed to help me, it would be very encouraging. But there was a possibility that he'd tell me he didn't want to interfere in other people's private matters. He could just say the whole thing was another love triangle between a father, his daughter, and his lover.
じゃあな、レナ。また明日な。
また明日ね。
I said goodbye to Keiichi-kun and walked home alone. After Keiichi-kun was gone, everything went quiet, and my head became clear. What I needed at this moment was quiet time to think about what I should do from then on. I shouldn't have been on Kase-san to solve my problem. He'd most likely decline my request, so I'll have to think about some alternatives. It's probably better that I just do that. A love triangle between a father, his daughter, and his lover. Those words bothered me, because I've seen an unhappy triangle like that before. Poor Rena. Sad. Yeah, my arm was really sore. Like someone had freaking destroyed my arm with the strongest punch possible for, God, it was probably about a week, man. It was pretty bad for me, but hopefully it goes away in a few days for you. That sort of thing had happened to Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun experienced it last year. He fought for his sister in a triangle with his aunt. It was the same situation as mine. I'm trying to fight to protect my father. Satoshi-kun fought alone. Nobody helped him. All I did for him was give him my sympathy and compassion. I didn't think I could do anything more than that. I felt sorry for him, but I didn't really help him out. Irresponsibly, I tried to cheer him up, and I probably told him something that I thought would make him feel better, but that hurt him instead. I recently realized how much I hurt him with my insensitivity, because Keiichi just hurt me the same way. I'm going down the same path Satoshi-kun went last year. I feel like I'm experiencing deja vu. An unusual repetition. Would that mean that I'd be the one who gets demoned away this year? I should be okay. I wasn't thinking about running away from Hinamizawa. Was I? I wasn't thinking about running away from Hinamizawa, but I thought about running away from home many times. That's why I made the place I could escape to in the garbage dump. The dump happened to be in Hinamizawa. But what if it wasn't? Running there would be the same as running away from Hinamizawa. I shouldn't think like that. Hayashiro-sama will get mad at me. Hayashiro-sama is really scary. Oh? I saw flickering lights in my head. Oh no. Every time I tried to remember that time, my mind would stop working properly. I remembered the vivid colors of my psychoactive drugs. The flickering lights and clouds started spreading in my head. They were so bright and annoying. Don't try too hard to remember. Don't try too hard to remember. No, 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 no. I couldn't stop the flickering lights in my head. I couldn't have that feeling. I had to fill my heart with another feeling. Yeah, there was no time for these crazy flickering lights in my head. I had to think about what I should do when Kase-san declined my request for help. I had to protect my father from Rina-san and that bad man. Wait, why was I still calling her that? Rina is Rina. She's a bad person who deceived my father and tried to bring us unhappiness. Bad people bring bad things into the world without even doing anything. They're different from the other 90% of people who aren't bad. If you let them loose, they'll even ruin the people around them. When you have one bad tangerine in a box, it spreads its fungus to the other tangerines around it. That's what bad people are like. I can't remember how Satoshi-kun resolved his triangle last year. But I could still see the flickering lights in my head. They're still flickering, they're still flickering, they're still flickering, they're still flickering, they're still flickering. They're still flickering. Yeah, she's not doing so well. Just as the swirl of flickering lights was making... Oh my god. Just as the swirl of flickering lights was making me dizzy, I saw my house. I also saw Rina-san's scooter parked by the side of the gate. And when I saw the bike, the flickering lights disappeared and I regained control of myself. Rina-san spent the night last night. She told me she had to work today in the evening, so she should be leaving soon. But I didn't want to be around her, even for a little while until she left. I said I'm home really loud, rushed into the house, pretended that my friends were waiting outside and rushed out of the house. But Rina-san stopped me.
あら、おかえり、レイナちゃん。
You bitch.
あ、こんにちは。
This was the first time I thought Rina-san's smile was ugly. It only stood to reason. I realized the scheme she was hiding behind that smile.
今日ね、お父さんと一緒にお昼は5ぐまで行ってきたのよ。キーマカレー、とっても美味しいお店でね。
My father poked his head out of the living room and says, I want to go there again next time we go. I really liked that curry. I wondered if he met with me next time. Met with me next time. Or with me and her. Anyway, I hate it when Rina-san says, your father.
それで、レトルトをお土産に買ってきたの。後で、ぜひ食べてみてね。
Hi, Cordy. Thanks for the hugs.
美味しいから。レイナちゃんはこのお店知ってる？
I did know the restaurant she was talking about. I saw it in a magazine. It's a new restaurant that just opened recently. I also remember that it was an expensive restaurant. The amount of money they spent on the take-home curry alone must have been enough to cover the cost of all our dinners on several nights. Since I was aware of what was in the bank books, it was hard for me to stay calm.
それは楽しみです。ありがとうございますね、皆さん。
それでね、レイナちゃん。
My model flaps are, not working, right? Is there something wrong with my VTube studio? That doesn't seem right to me. Let me, calibrate my model again. I wonder why it's doing that. That's really odd. I'm probably experiencing some sort of lag here. Yeah. Well, now my model's screwed up because I can't. Let me just exit out of YouTube Studio and exit back in, I guess. So my model's gonna go away. I might have to use a PNG if it doesn't fix itself. Ignore the VTube Studio screen. Let me get the camera turned on. Okay, calibrate it. We good? Everything good? Everything good? I think so. Why is my mouth flaps not moving properly? What is going on? Oh, it says like 1 FPS, so my internet's probably tanking, I would imagine. Well, here. Let me, check the internet real quick. It says it's connected. Let me try one more time to fix my model on my own. And then I may have to exit out of stream if it doesn't work right. Okay. I think it's working. It seems like it's working. Do it work? Do it work? Okay, I think that's better. It was weird, my mouth flaps were like going off without my mouth opening, so I was just... I'm not sure if that was VTube Studio or if that was my internet connection doing that, but I think we're good. Everything looks good.
ちょっとみんなでお話があるんだけど。
ごめんなさい。ちょっと友達を待たせてるんで出かけますね。またゴミ捨て場で宝探しなの。
レイナちゃんは宝探しが好きね。私も今度行ってみようかしら。
You're not allowed.
ではすみません。失礼します。
Every time Rina-san moved her arms or head, the scent of her perfume struck my nostrils. I hate the smell of her perfume, so I couldn't stay there a second longer. I rushed out of the house and started running to get away from her perfume. The rubber band inside me, the one called Rena, was stretched all the way to its limit. I'm pretty sure I'd explode and go crazy if the rubber band broke. I didn't want to feel like that inside my own house. My house was supposed to be the place where I could open my heart freely. I ran away. I ran away from there. I ran farther and farther away from there, because it was no longer the place I belonged. It's not that I had a destination in mind, I was just running away. I was running to escape to a place where I did belong. Didn't I decide to fight against that woman? Didn't I decide to fight against her either by myself or with my father? But then once I saw her fake smile, a chill ran up my back. It's like I picked up a stone, found a carpet of bugs underneath it, and put it back on the ground in a hurry. I rushed out of the house as fast as I could. Did I want to fight, or did I want to run away? Was I just choosing to spend a peaceful time at my hideout, believing that tomorrow would be the same as today? I couldn't do it. I didn't know when they spring their trap. I couldn't afford to waste any time. I knew that deep down. I knew that, but I just wanted to run away. I couldn't stop myself from running anyway, and so I did run away. Times like this, the mattress in my hideout would feel so soft. That I knew. The cries of the Higurashi were soothing to the ears. They sounded as soft as my mattress. They were like music. They didn't force any feelings upon me. They cried as if to tell me to be just who I am. It was always so quiet here that I immediately noticed the purr of an engine coming closer. People used to come here and make a lot of noise during the dam conflict, but now nobody really comes here. This is a place forgotten. It was rare to see somebody come through here at all. I sat on the roof of an abandoned car and waited for the intruder to go away without looking their way. But the purr of the engine stopped. I'm not stupid. Wow! If it stopped, I knew exactly who it had to be. I heard the person calling me, but I ignored it once. The person came closer, making it harder for me to ignore her. She called my name again. I turned around this time.
リナさん。
レイナちゃん、結構耳遠い方？
No, I just don't like you.
すみません。多分逆風だったんで聞こえにくかったんだと思います。
She seemed to buy my poor excuse. She smiled and said, "Yeah, it happens sometimes."
一人？お友達は？
一人で遊んでますよ。
その年でなかなか渋いわね。
And my mouth flaps are doing weird things too again. We good now? No, not really. Okay. I guess it doesn't really matter. It's a very, inconvenient thing, but very small. Mina-san stretched and looked across the huge garbage dump.
しかし、よくもこれだけ盛大にスクラップばっか捨てたもんよね。
Pop, 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 pop.
知ってる？昔、平坂の2丁目にもタイヤの外れた車ばっかり積んであるところがあってね。
I wasn't interested in Rina-san's old story, but I pretended to listen and nodded. She doesn't take this road to go back to Okinomiya. I guess she knew I'd be here and came by to see me. What did she want? It was obvious she was trying to just make conversation. She probably took it personally when I avoided her earlier, which must be why she was here to butter me up. It would be better for her to not have any conflicts with the daughter of the man she's seeing, no matter what the intention of seeing him is. In that sense, it was a reasonable action for her to take. While I listened to her old story, all I could think about was when she was going to leave. Didn't I have to fight against her? I have an itch on my head. Didn't I decide to fight against her? Didn't I find out her plot at the coffee house in Okinomiya? Didn't I find out that this woman is squeezing money out of my father when I looked inside his cash box? I know who you are. Please leave my father alone. How easy it would be if those two sentences could solve the problem. She'd probably deny it. Even if I told her about what I had heard at the coffee house, I have no evidence of her plot. If she said she did it because the vulgar man was threatening her, there would be nothing I could do. But I know this woman is a bad person. I know something horrible will happen in the near future if I waste time like this. A strange, tensing feeling started coming over me, but I didn't know how to let it all out. As the feeling started running high, I became unable to stand the smell of her perfume. I wanted to put a certain distance between me and her, so I climbed down the slope of the scrap heap. I kept going down and down the slopes of the garbage dump. When I turned around, I saw her coming down as well, muttering. Was she following me? In order to run away from her, I started running down the slope all the way to the bottom. went around behind some trash piles, and arrived at the front of my hideout. My escape was meaningless. Not only was she going to catch up with me eventually, all I did was let her know the way to my hideout that nobody's supposed to know about. I wanted to make sure she never saw my precious hideout. I was about to leave, but then she appeared.
へえ、ちょっと素敵よね。秘密基地みたい。
私だけの秘密の隠れ家なんですよ。ここには誰も来ないし、誰にも何も聞こえません。
I felt strange hearing myself say that.
レイナちゃんだけの秘密の隠れ家嬉しいわね。そんな場所に連れてきてもらえるなんて。
She must have thought I told her my secret because she was worth sharing it with. She looked happy. She found the station wagon, looked inside of it through the window, and went all ooh and ah excitedly. This is a secret place that nobody else knows. I felt like my consciousness was separating from my body, like I was floating. Oof. But it didn't feel good, like when I drank amazake. It was more like being carsick. Felt like I was going to throw up. My brain was probably secreting some chemical in order to avoid facing the reality that I'd have to stay with this woman, that I couldn't run away from her. But even if my brain tried to avoid recognizing it, the reality in front of me wouldn't change.
そうそう。ねえ、レイナちゃん。
なんでしょう。
どうしたの？気分悪いの？
いえ、平気です。
I inhaled fresh air and pulled my consciousness back to reality. I didn't feel like throwing up anymore, but I still felt off balance. I leaned onto a scrap of garbage to keep my balance.
私はレイナちゃんのこと好きよ。レイナちゃんは私のこと好き？
The hell I do!
何ですか突然。
I said that because I didn't want to say that I like her.
私ね、ずっとあなたのお父さんとお付き合いをしているんだけど、いろいろと話し合ってね。
Oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. I need to stop feeling like this.
I
Get
can't
up,
believe
Rena.
you've done this.
Can't believe you've done this. I need to stop feeling like this. Get up, Rena. I'd heard something like this before. Part of me was trying to understand what this woman was trying to say, but another part of me was trying not to. I felt as if her words were bouncing around in my head, and I started having a headache.
それでね、これからのことを真剣に話し合ったのよ。
She's gonna tell her they're getting married. Rena's gonna freak the frick out.
これからの生活やいろいろよ。
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it.
レイナも秋人おじさんのこと好きでしょ？それでね、お母さん。
What's going on? Mother? What are you thinking about, Rena Ryugu? This is an important moment. You're about to have a one-on-one battle with Rina-san. No, Mom. What about my dad? What about me? I don't want you to divorce him. I don't want you to get remarried to anyone else. No, please don't divorce him. I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to let you get remarried.
再婚なんて許さないです。
え？
お父さんとどういう付き合い方をしたって構いませんが、再婚なんて許さないです。
Ooh, that track is like so low, but it's discerning. She must have not thought that I'd say it straight out like that. She looked stunned. After a while, she broke the silence with her laughter.
拒絶もあるかなとは思ってたけど、ここまではっきり言われるとは思わなかったもんだから。
拒絶もあるかなと思っていました。私が拒絶していたのに気づいていたのは意外でした。
そんなのわかるでしょ。あんた、私と目を合わせるとすぐ逃げるもん。それで分かってないなんて思ってた？子供は嫌ね。
She frowned, revealing her ugly self. Should have been the first time I saw her face like that. But I wasn't surprised at all. Her face had looked like that to me from the beginning.
できれば上辺だけでもあんたとは仲良くしてたかったんだけど、ここまで嫌われちゃ難しいわね。私のどこが気に入んないの？
Because you're a backstabbing, money thieving bitch.
高
That's
額のた
why.
めに教えてよ。
最初から
Everything. Oh, you gonna need some ice for that burn,
全
girl.
部匂いも嫌い。
Rena doesn't give a two shits. One vicious word came out from my mouth after another. I didn't have wings, but I felt as if I was flying up to the sky. I felt weird and uncomfortable, but also exhilarated. I felt as if I was letting another me use my body. I felt as if I was letting another me use my body. I was in the middle of a disastrous battlefield, but I felt like it wasn't even my business.
そりゃあ好都合ね。私もあんたのこと嫌いだったから、
Ooh.
お互い様よね。
Ouch, cat fight, let's go.
なめんなクソガキ。ガタガタ言わされてえか。
二度と家へ来ないでください。
Get the fuck out of here, she
再婚なん
says.
て私が絶対に許さない。
Damn.
別にあんたに許してもらわなくてもいいんだけど。
Oh, I think you do.
まああんたがうまく立ち回ってお父さんに再婚を断念させたきゃさせてごらんって。そんなの今さら意味ないし。
She didn't look intimidated by me at all, and that made me feel a little intimidated in return. Why was she so confident of her absolute control over my father? She had to have more than confidence to be able to act as fearless as this. She must have something tangible. Before I asked her what it was, she told me herself.
私ね、プロポーズされたの。
Of course you are. Of course you are.
嘘だ。
嘘じゃないわよ。
Of course you are.
本当よ。
It's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie, it's a big lie. She has to divorce because she got pregnant. She has to get remarried because she got pregnant. That's a lie.
向こうからのお願いだから聞かないわけにもいかないしね。
Oh, you don't give a shit about your freaking morals.
指輪ももらっちゃったし。
And this could be your boyfriend's child. It might not be her father's child.
それに結婚を前提のお付き合いだったわけだしね。指輪まで送っておいて今さらちゃぶ台返しなんてことになると最近は問題が多いわよね。
それが最初から目的のくせに。
Nani?
私は聞いてるんだ。
Right?
お前と鉄という男が二人で喫茶店で話しているところを聞いてるんだ。お父さんのお金を目当てに近づいたのを知っている。ひなみ沢の旦那と呼んで詐欺にかけようとしていることを知ってる。葛西さんに聞いたから全部知ってるんだ。詐欺師だってことも全部知ってるんだ。
あら、全部知ってるんだ。あらららららら。
Before I knew it, Rena was standing right in front of me. We glared at each other with our faces almost touching.
で、レイナちゃんはそこまで知っててどうしようってわけ？
She's gonna kill this bitch by the end of this chapter.
お父さんに
It's gonna happen.
二度と近づかないでください。
嫌よってこんな秘密の隠れ家に誘ってくれての話だからね。そういうお話かなとは。だってここ秘密の隠れ家なんでしょ。誰も知らなくて誰にも何も聞こえない秘密。
そうですよ。
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to skip that.
誰も知らなくて誰にも何も聞こえない、誰も訪れることのない忘れられた場所。
Our faces were so close to each other that our noses could almost touch. I knew what I was talking about, but I didn't know what would happen next. I couldn't back down now that I'd come to this point, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I should do.
いやだ、何をマジになってんだかね。ほらほら、仲直り。
Yeah, like that's gonna happen now. Rena started laughing and slapped me on the back. My expression didn't change, and I kept staring at Rena. But I didn't notice her real intention of putting both her arms around my neck. Tension broke, already stretched thin, and Rena squeezed my neck hard. I was openly hostile, but I didn't realize Rena's evil intentions until she started choking me.
子供のくせに舐めやがってよ。
I freaking hate her.
もうちょいでうん千万って金が転がるんだよ。上辺だけでも仲良しってことになってりゃ、小遣いの少しもやろうって思ってたのにな。
She can get a good allowance now.
口ばっかり滑らしか。うんだらねえとこでまだるっこし。血にさらせやこら。
I tried to pry her hands off my neck, but I didn't have the strength to do so.
殺しはしたかなかったんだけどね。二度とこんなうまいかもにゃ会えないだろうしさ。てめえ閉めて、うん千万なら悪くはないさね。
He's obviously gonna figure out, though, that she's dead.
どうせ巻き上げたら
That's
上
not
達す
gonna
るつもりだっ
be
たしさ。
good for you.
上等くれたらこの野郎。
The world around me got darker and darker. I had never known an evil intention like this, namely the intention to kill me. It didn't scare me, though. It's because being scared is a feeling that people use to express how they feel when they see wildfire on the other side of a river. People on the island with the wildfire with their deaths right in front of them, they don't get scared. If I loosened my grip on her hands even a little bit, she'd crush my throat. This was a simple competition to see who was stronger. Rena wanted to get into the most advantageous position, so she tried to push me down to the ground so she could mount me. If I let her do that, I wouldn't stand a chance. I tried to keep my current position, but I was losing a lot of energy by being choked. It was only a matter of time before Rena could push me down. I lost my balance on purpose. I tried to fall backwards in order to pull her off balance. I couldn't hold my breath long enough to keep up that strength competition, so I had no choice but to take that chance. We fell on the ground, tangled together, but as Rena was strongly determined to kill me, she didn't even take her hands away from my neck after she fell. However, my action made Rena loosen her grip on my throat. It wasn't loose enough for me to break free from her grip, but it gave me a few moments to use my hands for something other than stopping her from crushing my throat. If I hadn't taken that chance, I would have been done for. That's why I tried to literally seize my chance. I moved both of my hands on the ground. To seize that chance, I felt a piece of broken glass in my right hand. That was truly my chance to literally save myself from the brink of death. I cut Rena's wrist deep with the piece of glass. Rena tried to endure the pain for a few seconds, but pain that severe from someone so cornered soon broke her will. She let go of my throat to cling to her bloody wrist. Damn! I used that moment to roll away from her. Well, you deserve it! She screamed, both in pain and also to try and intimidate me again. It didn't work anymore, though. Intimidation only works on the opponent when the opponent is hesitant to fight. When you're already in a fight, screaming like that means nothing more than letting the opponent know how badly you're hurt. I no longer had any hesitation. I had learned from Rena. She taught me what I have to do in a situation like this. That's right, this is my secret hideout. I know every single piece of junk in here. Maybe I knew that a day like this was coming. Was it just a coincidence that it was there? I had pulled out a meter-long lead pipe, not at all surprised to see it there. I raised it up high and brought it back down. There was no way Rena could block this hard and heavy lead pipe with just her arms. She probably tried to block it with the palm of her hands in order to take it from me, but her long nails wouldn't let that happen. Oh my god. Unable to catch it the way she wanted. This is going to be a content warning, everybody. This is going to get a little gruesome. Unable to catch it the way she wanted, she broke her fingers and some of her nails came off too. Her scream made me realize that I had the advantage. An advantage I would have to keep. If I didn't, she'd turn the tables just like I did. Then she'd choke me to death for sure. Oh, Jesus! Rena shielded her head with her arms, but it didn't help. All that would change is that I'd break her arms before I broke her face. I'm serious too. Die, die, die. You should die. Oh, this is not gonna turn out well. Yeah, that's right. I should have done this a long time ago. I didn't need proof. I didn't have to talk to anybody. That's stupid. It's nonsense. I should have done this a long time ago. If I had done it a long time ago, my father wouldn't have been deceived. I could have protected him. I could could have protected my family. I could have protected my life. I could have been myself. My mother wouldn't have divorced my father. I could have stayed happy. I wouldn't have had to be unhappy. I'm going to recapture my happiness. At this moment, I'm going to win back my happiness. I'm not going to cry for misfortune. I'm not going to give in to a fate of unhappiness. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to seize my happiness. Right now. With my own 2 hands. Damn! Rina tried to run away from me, but as she no longer had the use of her hands, it made it difficult for her to stand up to escape, especially since there were scraps of junk everywhere on the ground. After all, this is my hideout. This is my territory. Nobody can run away from me here. She tried to climb up the slope of garbage, slipped, fell, and rolled all the way back down. She didn't stand up or move. Her eyes were open and her neck was bent at an unnatural angle. Oof. I didn't know how to make sure she was dead, so I kept looking at her opened eyes for a while. She could be faking it for all I know. But she didn't close her eyes no matter how long I waited. I scooped up a handful of sand and threw it on her face. She still didn't close her eyes. Thud. The lead pipe slipped out of my hand and hit the ground. When I tried to pick it up, I realized how heavy it was, and I was surprised that I was wielding it as though it was a knife. I was sweating all over. The cold wind felt good on my skin. Oof. The cries of the Higurashi were calming me down and healing my soul. Rena was just like a broken dummy now. She had become a piece of junk. I am the owner of this land of junk, and I've defended it from her intrusion. Now she was a resident of this junkyard. I didn't feel bad about killing her. In fact, I felt rather fulfilled that I had defeated the evil woman who had deceived my father. I started breathing slowly and calmly, and I regained enough energy to analyze the situation. I'd have to hide her body. First, I had to get rid of her scooter. I climbed up the slope and kicked her scooter down the hill. It rolled down the slope, making a lot of noise, and blended in with all the junk as it stopped, like it was there from the beginning. I went back down the slope and started dragging her body to my hideout. It should have taken as much effort as dragging a 50-kilogram sandbag, but it felt lighter than that. It was just a sandbag, yet it brought disaster to my family. I didn't lure her here in order to kill her. Or did I? Maybe I just didn't notice I had the intention deep down in my heart. But even so, I felt like this was the best and most expedient solution. There was no better solution than killing her. How wasteful to depend on someone to help me, to wait for the day to come when they will. I remembered the murder of Satoshi-kun's aunt that happened last year. I had no doubt that Satoshi-kun murdered her, but I've never been as convinced as I am right at this moment. How could he have saved Satoko-chan other than by killing his aunt last year, at that time, in that circumstance? My situation was much the same as his. How could I have saved my father other than by killing her? If I was planning a murder, it would have been under a lot of pressure and stress. But for better or for worse, the moment came to me out of nowhere. That's why I believe I solved my problem with as little trouble as possible. Now that she's gone, will anyone become suspicious about her disappearance? She was an irresponsible person who skipped work at her convenience. So I didn't think anybody would get suspicious when she'd disappear one day. She was a big mess from the start. People would think she went into hiding because she got in deep trouble with someone. I didn't need to fabricate an alibi. All I needed to do was to get rid of her body. It took me a while to figure out how to do that last part. Hiding her body would be very risky. When my brain had become so calm that it did some calculations, it came up with an answer right away. Yes, this place is still the safest. This is a place forgotten. Nobody comes here. Nobody knows this place is here. I knew that because I'd been spending a lot of time here. Compared to taking the risk of carrying her body to some other place, it was a lot safer to just hide it here. But it wasn't perfect yet. This place wouldn't remain a secret forever. I could hide it here for now, but I'd have to come up with the perfect way to make it completely disappear. It's a lot easier to think about that than thinking about how to make Rena break up with my father. I stuffed her corpse into a broken refrigerator in a trash pile. I wanted to cover the refrigerator with dirt and bury it, but that was too easy. I had to chop the corpse into pieces. Oh, Alice, hi! I'm talking about murder right now. How you doing? And make them completely disappear. I felt like it got dark all of a sudden. No, it didn't get dark all of a sudden. I just didn't realize it was getting dark until just then. I could hear thunder from a distance. It might rain soon. I could use some rain. It had washed Rena's dirty blood off the ground, into the ground. I should go home. I should think about what I do tomorrow. I was going to stay right beside my father until he forgets about her. He might be hurt at first, but we're going to recapture our happiness for sure. Our happy, peaceful life. Does she not have, like, blood all over her clothes, though? 'Cause, that's not a, like... that's not a, not very... That's a pretty messy way to kill someone, is what I mean. So I feel like there'd be some blood all over her clothes, but whatever. If she's not worried about it, then I'm not worried about it. My body was heavy with exhaustion, but I also felt fulfilled because I took a very important step today. Murder! The most important step! I'll keep taking one step after another. I'm not going to cry anymore. I'm not going to cry until I win back my happiness. I'm not going to cry again. Damn! She went there! Wow. Yep, she was not letting her go. She was like, not today, girl.
再婚なんかする必要ないよ。
That was the first thing I said after I got home. My father looked stunned. He noticed the sad tone of my voice and realized that I didn't agree with the idea of his remarriage. He looked down.
無理もないよな。レイナの気持ちもわかるよ。事前にレイナにもよく相談。
プロポーズなんて取り消せばいい。
あんな女なんて言い方しちゃダメだ。リナさんは
本当のことを話す。あの女と鉄という男は二人組の悪人。我が家の財産を狙ってお父さんに近づいてきただけ。
My father didn't get it right away, of course. He looked upset instead because I called her that woman. I should have chosen my words a little more carefully, but I think I told him the truth clearly enough. I told him everything I heard and saw at the coffee house. As I expected, he defended Rinna anyway. I was upset, but at the same time it made me certain that there was no other way than to kill her. I felt the pressure on my shoulders lessen for some reason. My father thought he needed my approval for his remarriage, so he held back his anger and put a fake smile on his face instead.
なあレイナ、もう一度ゆっくりとお父さんたちと話し合おう。そうすればきっと分かってくれるから。
Oh yeah, I understand. I understand completely. A tamed animal is still tamed, even after the owner is dead. That's okay. I'll open the gate anyway. Even a tamed animal will notice one day that he's no longer in captivity. It's not something that I could teach him. He had to realize it on his own. I couldn't stand his fake smile anymore, so I left the living room. Time healed the pain from the divorce. Time heals any kind of pain, just like how dripping water will eventually bore a hole through solid rock. I did what I could. Now I'll have to wait. The day I was going to wait for came earlier than I expected. At midnight of the following day, we had a visitor. It was... oh. Oof. It was that Taechan man. Tepe Hojo. This asshole. Oh boy, I hate this guy. Tepe didn't even knock on the door to get in. He broke into the house by smashing the window. First I thought he came here to ask us about Rinna's whereabouts, but I was wrong. The real reason why Tepe came here was because it was their plan. It was the last stage of their Badger game. Rinna was probably supposed to be in bed with my father at that time tonight. Tepe must have wanted to show up and catch them sleeping together. Tepe looked around the house, but he couldn't find Rinna. It was a good thing Reina did what she did when she did it, I guess. He didn't change the plan, though. He grabbed my father by his collar and started yelling threats. He showed my father a certificate of marriage to Rinna and shouted at him, saying, "You got my wife pregnant. How are you going to take responsibility?" My father had no idea she was married. He looked shocked. My father was a short guy who was faint of heart. He just let Tepe do and say whatever he wanted from beginning to end. I looked at them from a distance, coldly. The more Tepe yelled and threatened my father, the faster he'd wake up from his bad dream. This was a medicine for him. Tepe was cutting out the cancer that I was going to depend on time to do, and he was doing a great job of it. I waited to help my father until I was sure that he had finally awakened from his bad dream. I told Tepe that I had something very important to tell him and took him outside.
で、重要な話っちゅうんは。
リナさんって昨日以来沖宮に帰ってますか？
ん？
実はリナさん、事情があって隠れてるんです。
あ？どういうこっちゃ？
リナさんから鉄平さんが来たら連れてきてほしいと言われてるんです。
Is she gonna kill him too? What?
あ？リツコのやつどうしたんね？
Tepe followed me without hesitation. We walked in the dark with a flashlight to the place where nobody comes and nobody can hear us. Place forgotten. Oh, she does not care anymore. She's like, I'm killing them all. They're all gone. He asked me many things on the way, but I couldn't answer any of them. I just told him to ask Rena. The way I said it seemed to make him think that Rena was going to betray him and get married to my father for real. Even though he was breathing heavily in a rage, he walked right behind me without any suspicions. Yeah, Rena is in full murder mode. I knew this day was going to come very soon, so I was well prepared for it. We reached the place where I was originally planned to bring him, and I turned off the flashlight all of a sudden.
どうしたんね?
Everyone gets nervous when the only light in the dark goes off. This is my territory. I didn't need any light. I could feel my surroundings even better with my eyes closed. I grabbed the big hatchet I'd hidden in a bush, and I lifted it up high.
ごめんなさい。電池の接触不良かな。
Oh, shit.
ちょっと待ってくださいね。
はよせんとね。
I purposely sounded weak and helpless while I raised the hatchet in the air.
ライターあるわ。出すんね。
Pepe found a lighter in his pocket and lifted up. He probably couldn't understand the sight illuminated by that small light. Saw a girl lifting up a big hatchet right in front of him.
Huh?
Tepe's eyes went wide. He didn't understand what was going on, but he understood that his life was in danger. And yet, he must not have been able to think fast enough to deal with it, even though he understood what he should do. Even if he could think fast enough and block his head with his arms, it wouldn't have meant anything. I knew Tepe would come to my house eventually. That's why I prepared for that day. I just didn't think that preparation was going to bear fruit tonight. I chose my weapon very carefully. I planned when, where, and how I was going to attack him. And so, there can only be one result. Murder! The hatchet cut deeply into his forehead. I felt an indescribable vibration through the hatchet when it hit him, and it told me that I broke his skull. He bragged about how good he was at fighting at the coffee house, but he sure went down quickly when faced with a murderous weapon. He was done in by a single blow. Tepe slowly fell to the side with the hatchet in his forehead. He looked like a victim in a B movie. I killed this big guy with just one hatchet. He was probably quite experienced in the world of violence, but I was better than him when it came to killing. Why? Because I've killed someone before. It's all done now. The bad people who deceived my father and tried to rob him blind are all gone. I did what I had to do in order to protect my life. If I had this much courage and determination when my mom told me about the divorce, I might have killed Akihito. If I did, I would have taken the life of only one. As I couldn't do it back then, I've had to kill 2 people in the last 2 days. But this never goes according to plan. Never. Something always happens, and it turns bad real fast. Rena, let's finish this up. There's already a place to hide his body. I took care of everything. My hands were wet, so I shone the flashlight at them. I thought it was blood, but it was just sweat. Even so, I still felt uncomfortable, and shone the flashlight at my hands several times. I did all this in order to be happy. I did all this, so I should be happy now. I tried so hard that I got blood on my hands. I wanted to get credit for that from him. Oh, Yashiro-sama, let me ask you a question. I can finally rewind the time back to that day everything started to go wrong, can't I? I'm going to stay in Hinamizawa. I'm going to live happily with my father forever. So she thinks. That escalated quickly. It's weird to see Rena sleep in class. She isn't the kind of girl who sleeps in class because of staying up so late. She had to be tired from doing housework or something. Everybody seemed to think the same thing. Nobody tried to wake her up, not even Chie-sensei. She got up for a few seconds and went back to sleep. She swayed back and forth like she was rowing a boat. But she's in class, so I should wake her up, right? This must be Mion talking, because it's in green. I was about to wake her up, but before my hand touched her, Mion gave me— Nope, it's not. Maybe it's Keiichi, then. Mion gave me a sign not to.
寝かせてあげなよ。たまにはそういう日もあるよ。
それもそうだな。
I heard a few days ago that Rena lives with her father. She studies during the day, plays a lot after school, does things around the house after that. I didn't know that. I also didn't know her mother had divorced her father. Mion told me that, and she also told me to talk about it because... not to talk about it because Rena is still hurt by the divorce. As
そ
any
んな
kid
苦
would
労
be.
をしてるなんて全然気づきもしなかったぜ。
レナはそういうのを表に出さないタイプだよね。ひょっとすると普段陽気に振る舞っているのも
It's a facade.
そういう風に意識して振る舞っているからかもね。
Excuse me. Rena told me that happy days will one day come to an end. She told me she knew that firsthand. What could she have been through? I had no idea. It's probably why she tried to spend as much time as peacefully and cheerfully as she could. I must have hurt her feelings when I said I was bored of having happy days. When I thought about it, I felt bad for living off my parents, who are both healthy and happy. For that matter, Satoko and Rika-chan lost their parents too. Mion lives with her grandmother, away from her parents, because she needs to learn to be the head of the Sonozaki family in the future. When I realized all that, I felt bad about my situation.
別にケイちゃんが両親と生活してることを申し訳なく思うことはないよ。
Mion seemed to have read my mind. She said it with a cool expression on her face.
確かに家族ってのは生まれてきた子供である私たちにとって一番最初のコミュニティなんだと思う。
You don't need to feel guilty for what you have, but you do need to, like, appreciate it, have gratitude for it, and, you know, try to understand and respect that other people might not have it the same way you do. So you need to, like, be careful with your words and, you know, not be, like, insensitive about things, because you don't know what somebody else is going through, so.
でもね、コミュニティは家族だけじゃないんだよ。
But you also don't, like, dismiss your own issues either just because someone else might be going through a harder time. That doesn't mean you're, you know, what you're going through isn't as, not gonna say it's, like, more difficult, but, like, it's still valid, and it's still, you know, something that you're struggling with, and that's important to recognize and, like, accept. And not diminished by someone else's problems. But you still have to, like, realize other people are going through different struggles than you are. And you have to be respectful and, you know, sensitive of that as well.
仲間か
Real life talk with Heather today, I guess.
分かってるじゃん。
In the middle of all the murder.
俺たちはレナにとって家族に負けないくらいの存在なんだろう
I
か
think so.
掃除洗濯、炊事に買い物。
I couldn't imagine doing everything and going to school.
それに疲れて昼寝だけして過ごすことだってレナにはできるんだよ。でもレナはそれをしない。放課後の時間いっぱいを私たちと部活をして過ごす。それはつまりなんて言えばいいのかな。そう、仲間ってことなんだよ。
レナにとっては家族と同じくらいの意味のある仲間ってことなのか。
え、
Mion looked stunned, as if she didn't understand what I was talking about.
ああ、ケイちゃんが今日まで仲間って言葉をどういう意味で使ってきたか知らないけどさ、仲間ってのは家族と全く同格じゃないのかな。
I agree. Because friends are the people that you choose to be beside you, you know? Whereas family, like, you don't really get a chance, so... And in a certain, like, respect, I believe that they're more important because they're, you know, the people you choose to be your family.
難しく考えることではないのですよ。
Rika! I love Rika so much. She is so cute. Look at those little cheeks. Rika-chan joined our conversation.
居場所があればいいのです。それがある場所を家族と言ったり仲間と言ったり、呼び方が少し変わるだけのことなのですよ。
リカちゃんにとって家族と仲間は同じものか。
僕はそうだと思っていますです。
Also, if the game is too loud, please let me know. I haven't gotten confirmation on that, so I've not changed it any, but...
サトコもミーも、そしてレナもそうだと思いますですよ。
だから私たちはいつも一緒にいようとするんじゃないかな。
リカちゃんはみんなといると寂しくないか。
は家族なのです。寂しくなんかないのですよ。
Mion nodded in agreement. See, there are some times I do feel lonely around family or friends. Like, I'll feel like ostracized sometimes. But I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean it's their fault or they did anything. It's just sometimes my brain is just like, you're not like these people. And, you know, just starts going down a rabbit hole of stuff. And sometimes I just get, my introverted brain just shuts down and I'm like, nope, no more. No more socialization. It gone now. And I just shut down entirely. Stoko was talking with her other classmates, but I'm sure she would not as well. Rena would too.
俺ちょっと恥ずかしいよ。今日まで俺仲間って言葉を使ってきたけどさ、本当の意味で理解してなかったと思う。仲間ってのはもっともっと大切でかけがえのないすげえもんなんだよな。
Indeed.
それすっごく当たり前のことだからさ。もし今日まで分かってなかったならよく胸に刻んだ方がいいよ。
そうだな。そうするぜ。
あとそれを二度と口にしない方がいいかもだね。今ケイちゃんかなり恥ずかしいこと言ってたと思うよ。
After all that, Mion still made fun of me. I think I understand a little better why Rena was always so serious about having fun. I want to be her best friend, and I want to do my best to be deserving of her effort. Rena snored. It sounded cute. Chie-sensei let her sleep in class, but she couldn't let her get away with snoring.
委員長、竜宮さんを起こしてください。
レーナ、ほらほら。
Rena was still half asleep and made a strange noise. Everybody in the class laughed. Little did they know, she just murdered 2 people. Rena noticed they were laughing at her, woke up right away, and acted like she wasn't sleeping at all. It looked really funny, and I burst into a fit of laughter. Outside the window, the sky was blue, and the clouds were pure white. It was still June, but it looked like the middle of summer. This perfect weather wouldn't last forever. It could get cloudy and rain all of a sudden. That's why we had to play and cause a ruckus while we still had this perfect weather. The cries of the cicadas sound as if they're laughing at us because we still have some classes left. Ah, damn it. I can't wait for school to finish.
どうしたんだろう。ケイチ君すっごく嬉しそうだね。
別に今日は今日だし、明日は明日だろ。今日が晴れてるならそれで十分。明日の天気なんか知ったこっちゃないってことさ。だから今日という日を俺は精一杯遊び倒したい。いつ天気が崩れたって後悔しないくらいに徹底的にな。
I learned that from Rena. I learned that peaceful days are the happiest days you can have, and that they're irreplaceable.
ミオ、今日の部活はなんだ？それに最近罰ゲームがちょいと刺激不足だぜ。
言うねケイちゃん。そこまで言うなら今日の放課後には生き地獄ってやつを拝ましてあげるよ。
ケイチ君、あんまりみーちゃんを挑発しちゃダメだよ。
Hi, Ems.
おいおい、臆すのかよレナ。上等じゃないかよ。また俺たちの実力で大暴れしてやろうぜ。俺とレナの決着だってまだまだついちゃいないんだからな。
I grinned at her, and she grinned back.
それもそうだね。よーし、レナも思いっきり頑張るぞ。レナさんには先日の借りがございますものね。
These are very, 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 very long, and I did take a hiatus, so no, I have not finished these yet.
きっちり倍返しさせていただきましてですわよ。
いいねいいね。盛り上がってきたよ。
I am on chapter 6 of 8, so I'm getting close, I suppose.
早く放課後になるといいのです。
I couldn't wait either, but the time we spent just talking together was also very precious.
そうだな。早く放課後になるといいな。
Interesting. Alright. My favorite wine. Satoko went to join the children playing in the schoolyard. So I didn't feel like going, I decided to stay home. Most likely she wouldn't be back until the evening. But Satoko wasn't around. I had ways of spending time without her. Besides, that's what I wanted to do anyway. I stuck my hand deep inside the pile of winter futons in the closet and pulled one out. Next I filled a stylish-looking glass with ice. The ice made in the freezer smelled of chlorine, though, and did taste good. Store-bought ice would be best, but since Satoko kept asking me what I was using it for, I stopped buying it. But it might be worth spending time to think about a good excuse for that, if it meant I would be able to enjoy ice without ever again smelling the chlorine. I filled the glass with mineral water and then poured a little bit of another liquid into the glass. Watching the color mix into the transparent water was a very pleasant thing. This wasn't the right way to drink it, but I liked it that way, and didn't want to hear any complaints. My body is very convenient because I can get drunk with only a tiny amount. That's why I dilute the small amount with a full glass of water. That's really smart. And thanks to that, I could enjoy a single bottle for a long time. It wasn't bad if you thought about it like that. I put a cushion on my favorite spot by the window, and with the glass in one hand, I enjoyed the favorite view and the soft wind brushing through my hair. A slightly sweet, ripened aroma tickled my nose, and just when I thought about to start enjoying the atmosphere, the annoying one came back. She didn't like this bad habit of mine, and she complained every time I lifted the glass. She started nagging me noisily.
うるさいな。少しくらい我慢なさい。何を飲もう
Oh,
と
that's
食おうと
Rika?
私の勝手でしょ。
It is weird when she goes all, like, dark, evil, adult mode.
ダメなのです。その飲み物はあなたにはまだ早いのです。
I tried to ignore her, but she started making a fuss, as if trying to ruin the atmosphere on purpose. There was no way I could enjoy getting drunk like this. I glared at her and threw the drink out the window.
なんで私が憂鬱か知りたい？私の死に方が決まったからよ。
It seemed like she finally understood why I wanted to drown myself in alcohol.
そんなに落ち込まなくてもいいのよ。割と一瞬で死ねるから、そんなに怖くないわ。
My body will be burned and cut into pieces, but I'll be able to die instantly.
でも、またダメなのです。そうね。またダメね。
Who is she talking to?
これだと、私の命日はいつだっけ？
Her, like, regular self?
6月の25日の夜だと思いましたです。
Because that sounds like, Rika, the regular Rika talking.
綿流しの祭りが終わってから、だいたい1週間後か。まあ、妥当なあたりね。やっぱり、僕のせいなのでしょうか。
But it sounds a little different. That doesn't quite sound like Rika. And that doesn't sound like Satoko either.
決まってるでしょ。あんた自覚ないの？はう。
Is that Rena? But Rika's younger than Rena. She was the one who asked me, as she cried when I told her, and she called her little one. When I told her she was right. Oh, geez, she's always so annoying.
頑張りましょう。次のすごろくではきっと6が立て続けに出てくれることもあるわよ。
June 25th. I still had 10 more days. I was going to relax and enjoy those 10 days. I still had some wine left, too. I am so confused. What is happening? Oh, boy. Alright. One more time. I'm gonna at least do another one. Might do another one after that, depending on how long this chapter is. Also, I'm feeling hungry, so I might start eating some snacks. Which I know is probably not professional for streaming, but I've had a bit of a rough day, and my eating has not been on time, so I'm going to eat a few of these for a moment. What a phrase to come back to. No worries, Ems. I hope your headache goes away soon. And I hope you get some good sleep. Alright. It had been very hot for the past few days, and the corpses went rotten quickly. Any housewife knows how fast fresh meat can go bad. Especially since it's in the middle of summer and it's out in the open, you know. It's not refrigerated or anything. That could definitely go bad. Super fast. I know it too. That's why the first thing I did was to dismember the corpses. There was only one reason why I needed to dismember them. I had to reduce them to a portable size in order to carry them to a place where they'll never be found. When men see the words dismembered corpses, they'll probably feel disgusted because they don't cook. My housewives are used to taking the guts out of fish, and they sometimes even see living maggots. But not me! I take the maggots off of the food or even cook it with the maggots still on. The heat will kill them after all. Women don't tell men what they do in the kitchen because men wouldn't eat the food if they knew. So it didn't really bother me much to dismember them. I was released from all my problems by killing them. Cleaning up the mess was like nothing to me because I got freedom and regained my happiness. I dismembered the corpses using carpenter's tools like a saw and a hatchet. I'm wearing a black sweatsuit I bought for today because I thought I might get stained with blood. Bloodstains don't show on black fabric, and I can just throw it away after it's done. I brought a plastic sheet I found in the dump because I thought the blood might spread otherwise. If I did the work on the sheet, I could just burn it after I was done. In the end, dismembering human bodies is no different than preparing food on a chopping board. I think it's a little different! I think it's a little different! These are not fish, they're much bigger, and they are human, and that's a lot different. I was very tired from chopping apart 2 adult bodies, but I didn't have a problem doing it. I cut off their arms, legs, and heads, dividing each body into 6 pieces. I heard before that blades get easily ruined by fat when you cut apart a corpse, so I brought many kinds of tools. And I was right, I didn't have to go back and forth between here and my house to get another tool in the middle of work. A long time ago, the construction manager was murdered, and his body was dismembered here during the dam conflict. He was cut into 6 pieces in the same way. Well, I had 2 bodies, so there was double enough fat, though. I remembered the main suspect was still on the loose, and the victim's arm he hid hadn't been found yet. I wonder where he hid it. I'd like to ask him. I smiled wryly. Unlike the arms, legs, and heads, the torsos were difficult to take care of. I thought about cutting them into smaller pieces, but I decided against it because I thought it'd be troublesome to clean up the guts. I put each piece in a black trash bag and sprayed on a lot of deodorant. I wasn't sure if that would help against the smell, though. Many bugs flew around me while I was dismembering the corpses. After I finished putting away all the pieces into each bag, the bugs were still flying around, but that was just because they could smell the blood. After I cleaned up everything, they were all gone. Now, all I need to do is get rid of these 12 bags. Burning them would be easiest, but I don't think I can burn them to ashes without using a cremator. Best way is to bury them somewhere. Other than the torsos, every piece is small enough to fit in my backpack. I could easily carry them without being noticed. I could throw them into the river running through the dam construction site, but if I did that, somebody would find them for sure. I've seen on the news several times before that a bag with a body part in it was found beside a river. Every time I heard something like that, I always thought the murderer was stupid. I thought about dumping them into the Onikafuchi swamp, but rotten meat floats. I thought about weighing the bags, but there's no guarantee they'd stay down. So that left me the choice. To bury them. There are many unexplored mountains at the end of the abandoned districts around Yogoichi and Takasudo. It's probably best to bury them somewhere in the mountains. While it would be safe to bury them here in the garbage dump too, it's not perfectly safe. And so I'm going to bury all these bags somewhere deep inside of a mountain in order to completely erase the 2 of them. My joints hurt since I've been using muscles I don't normally use. I cleaned up the mess very carefully and got into my hideout. While still wearing the sweatsuit, I laid down on the mattress. I washed my hands carefully, but there was still dirt and blood under my nails. I should take a hot shower later and wash it off completely. When I say things like disposing of corpses, it sounds like I'm the greatest evil of the century. That's only true if I get caught. What I did isn't a crime as long as I don't get caught. Plus, I didn't do this because I wanted to commit a crime. I didn't do anything wrong. I did this to protect my father's life, and mine. Hi, Randy! Sorry, we're talking about, hiding bodies, if you're, interested. People might speak ill of me, but I don't care about them. In the end, I don't think anybody can really pass judgment on my sins. Sins aren't something to pass judgment on, they're something to confess and to atone for. In other words, nobody can measure the weight of a sin other than the person who committed the crime. Do I regret what I did? Do I feel sorry? No. I don't think I did anything wrong. I truly believe there was no better way than killing them. I'm sure it was the right thing because my life had already started to change since the night I killed them. Thanks for the shout out, Alice. A few days earlier, I just came home after killing Tepe. My father was cleaning the room Tepe had thrashed earlier. His eyes were swollen. He'd been crying.
レイナ、どこへ行ってたんだ？
あの男と話をしてきた。もうリナさんは二度とこの家に来ない。だからあなたも来ないでって言った。だからあいつはもう来ないよ。
そんなのでおとなしくしてくれるやつじゃないぞ、きっと。レイナもしばらくは用心した方がいい。
It's hard to explain to him why Tepe would never come back. I can't tell him he shouldn't worry because I killed him. I mean, you can, but that's not gonna work in your favor very well. I grabbed ice cubes from the freezer, put them in a plastic bag, and handed it to my father.
お父さん。はい。ほっぺた、すごい腫れてるよ。
He must have only noticed it just then.
ああ、ありがとう。
私が片付けるからいいよ。掃除機持ってくるね。
レイナ。
He called out to me.
お父さんが悪かった。ごめんな。
仕方ないよ。あいつらは騙すのがなりわいだもん。だからお父さんは騙されただけだよ。
レイナはあいつらがそういう連中だって知ってたのか？
うん。最近だけどね。言っても信じてくれないと思って言わなかった。ごめんね。
He looked down. When he told me about how he wanted to get remarried, I had told him that they were bad people and that they scammed others with Badger games. But he didn't listen to me. So I was right in saying that he wouldn't have believed me at all.
お父さんは母さんとの離婚で落ち込んでいるところをつけ入られたんだよ。
お父さんは本当にダメなお父さんだよな。
And he started talking about how he had met Rinna, as if trying to absolve his guilt. It was when he was suffering the most, and he needed to drink away his sorrow. It's the bar he happened to go into. Rinna-san was the one who came into his table. It was her job to be a good listener when her customers talked. Rinna must have really been a great listener and offered words of comfort when he talked about the divorce. He was emotionally unstable. He could have taken it as a kindness that she was only offering at the time. He was so desperate that he took it the wrong way. But after that, the tragedy was inevitable. He wanted to believe that it was destiny, and he glamorized everything about her. It would be easy to laugh at him and say that he was just dreaming. But I don't blame him, because being weak is also a part of being human. He had plenty of opportunities to grow suspicious of her questionable spending habits. But my father just read even that behavior as an attempt to cheer him up. He bought everything she asked him to, and Rinna had landed her catch. He shouldn't have brought his lover to the house where his daughter lived. But he was crazy about her, and he didn't even think about it.
お父さんはお父さんであることを忘れちゃってたんだ。
Yeah.
本当にどうかしてた。
He started crying. I held his shoulders gently.
いいよ。お父さんがそれに気づいてくれたなら、お父さんはお父さんなんだよ。私には一人しかいない。最後の肉親なんだから。
He couldn't stop moaning. We held each other and cried together. The next day, my father got up early in the morning. He was already cooking breakfast when I got up. And he told me,
お父さんは今日からしっかりするからな。
"Aw, he's trying his best."
でもお父さん、目玉焼きを焼く前にサラダオイルは敷いた方がいいと思うか
Salad
ら。
oil?
お
You mean like vegetable oil? Is that what she
久
means?
しぶりの台所なんで。
He pried off the burning eggs on the pan with a spatula, and he added salad oil to it. It was too late. Doing that just made an even bigger mess. But I didn't say anything because I wanted to eat his eggs. I waited at the table quietly. He put the burned eggs on a plate and brought them over to me. Eggs sound really good right now, actually. I know, the poor dude. He's really trying. It looked like he tried to salvage them by adding cheese, but it didn't really work. Still, it smelled good and crispy. I actually stimulated my appetite. Thick-cut toast popped out of the toaster. I made coffee with extra milk and sugar because my father liked it sweet. We put everything on the table. It looked terrible, like the cooking class, of an elementary school, but to me it was precious, because my father tried very hard to make it, wearing the apron. Aww.
匂いだけなら美味しそうだよ。
I'm just waiting for it all to fall apart, because it always does.
あとは味だね。
But I'll enjoy it in the moment
やっ
here.
ぱり食事はレイナがやった方がいいかもな。これじゃかえって悪い気がする。
お父さんが仕事で忙しくなったら、また私が代わるよ。
It had been a taboo to talk about work in our house. He hadn't worked since the divorce. It wasn't only because of the divorce, though. He just didn't have to work because the settlement my mother gave him was so huge. Plus, I let him be lazy because I felt guilty about the divorce. But my father cleared his wrongdoing by showing repentance up to me. And I also atoned for my sin of not doing anything about my mother by doing what I did the previous night. Now we are free of sin.
お父さん、仕事を探してみるよ。
Free of sin? I don't know about that.
今日は食案に行ってこようと思う。
Don't say anything. I've actually only watched the anime, like, the first season of it. Which, the original version, which just, and I don't remember it much, so, like, all these details are really important, and I want to, like, watch them firsthand in the game, because this is the original version, and it has a lot more details in it than the anime does, so. But yeah, it's really good, and I really, really like it.
それはいいね。
It just takes a long time to truck through. It's not money that he wanted. He just needed a normal
こん
lifestyle.
な年で体力もないからな。いい仕事があるか不安だよ。
どんな仕事ならいいの？
事務の仕事がいいけど、この年じゃなかなか雇ってもらえないだろうな。
私の友達に聞いてみるよ。
Oh yeah, Mion can find anything for
兄ちゃん
you.
はこの辺りの大地主のお嬢さんだから、ひょっとすると紹介してくれるかもしれないよ。
No, I have all my parts uploaded onto YouTube somewhere, so you can watch the whole playthrough of it if you want. But yeah, I understand. It takes a long ass time to get through, so if I wasn't already like determined to get through everything, then yeah, I wouldn't have even tried.
いいよいいよ、仕事くらい自分で探すよ。その程度にはしっかりしないとな。
But really though, like, the anime misses so many details and just the crushing way that, like, the text, and the, like, sound effects, like, explain all these, like, details are just, oh, it's so good. In the most terrible way. I don't remember the last time we enjoyed breakfast like this. I don't even remember the last time we had breakfast together. For the first time in a long while, the morning light felt refreshing. I wanted to keep enjoying life like this. But unfortunately, I had to go to school. I told him that I'd skip school that day, and I wanted him to take me somewhere fun. But he tried to be a good father and said that I had to go to school.
じゃあ、私学校行くね。
I am going to play Umineko. So sometime after I finish this, and I get most of my other games finished, I'm going to start Umineko. But I only have the question arcs right now, so I'm gonna have to save up some money to get the answer arcs, and I'm gonna hope that it gets on sale sometime. You know, after I get some money saved up again. But I am gonna play it, yeah. I've heard good things.
Ah, いってらっしゃい。
いってらっしゃい. He followed me to the front door. I was a bit embarrassed for some reason. He talked to me while I was tying my shoes. He followed me there because he wanted to see me off, but because he wanted to tell me something.
お父さんは母さんとの離婚の後、ずっと寂しかった。でもお父さんはレイナと一緒だから寂しくなんかないんだ。
Aww. That's sweet.
そうだ。最初から寂しがることなんか何もなかったんだ。
お父さん、それを家族って言うんじゃないかな。
そうだな。そんなことを娘に教わるようじゃダメだな。
じゃあケイチ君を待たせてるからもう行くね。
いってらっしゃい。ああ、そうだレイナ、今日はお父さんが夕食を作るぞ。食案に行くついでに買い物をしてくる。朝食みたいな失敗はしないから楽しみにしてるんだぞ。うん、
楽しみにしてるよ。行ってきます。
This is so sweet, but I'm like waiting with bated breath, like, how is this going to turn upside down? Because I know it always does. I left the house. My father saw me off, still in the apron. It was the first step of our new life. I finally regained it. I finally regained everything we lost after we left Hinamizawa. My mother wasn't around, but I didn't feel sad because I had my father. The cries of the cicadas sounded as if they were celebrating my new life. The sunshine was bright, and the wind was sending up a nice breeze. The only thing that wasn't nice was the ticking clock. I was late because I spent too much time talking with my father. Keiichi-kun might already be gone. I don't think he'd be waiting for me that long. But he was there anyway.
Yo!
Aww. He actually did something right for once. Holy crap.
Ohayo!
Ohayo!
おはよう。遅れてごめんね。ごめん。
いいってことよ。普段は俺がレナを待たせてるんだからな。たまには俺を待たさせろ。
ずいぶん遅くなっちゃったね。早足で行った方がいいかな。
そうだな。チャキチャキ行こうぜ。さもないと走る羽目になりそうだ。
みーちゃんさすがに先に行っちゃってるかな。
待ってるだろう絶対。俺たちは仲間だぜ。絶対に見捨てないし、勝手に行っちゃったりはしないよ。
It's so sweet. Aww.
それはそうと、今日は朝からいいことでもあったのか？
どうしてかな。
That's so nice.
いやさ、今朝のレナは普段にも増して上機嫌そうだったからさ、特別なことでもあったのかなって。
The cool thing about my Umineko run is that I haven't seen anything about it. Like, I haven't... Absolutely nothing. I've seen, like, some screenshots, but, so that'll be, like, a extremely new, like, experience. Whereas this one, I had watched, the first season of the anime, so there was a lot that I missed. But I had watched some of it, so I kind of had an idea. I love this track. This is my favorite track. The good mood I was in must have been too obvious for Keiichi-kun to ignore me. I had not only my family, but my friends too. I felt something warm spreading in my heart.
それがね、聞いて。朝食をお父さんが作ってくれたんだけどね。それがね。
なんだよ。目玉焼きはそれで正しいだろ。サラダオイルってのはサラダに使うもんなんだろ。
みーちゃんたちに教えてあげようっと。なんですって。それは許しがたい暴言でございましてよ。
おお、上等だぜ。そこまで言うからには直接対決も辞さない覚悟だろうな。
おお、盛り上がってるじゃない。なんなら今日の部活さ、さとことけいちゃんで外馬行こうか。
みーちゃん、外馬って何かな。
I was gonna ask that. What's the difference between an outside bet and an inside bet?
ああ、外馬ってのはよ。つまり、俺と聡子だけで賭けをするってことさ。部活の順位がそのまま勝敗になって、負けた方は俺たちだけのペナルティを課す。
つまりどっちが勝っても負けても僕はとっても楽しいのです。
Rika's so cute.
どうするさとこ？
あらあら、素敵な勝負でございますことよ。部活にビリで罰ゲームな上に、さらに私に負けてダブルで罰ゲームなんて、こんな素敵なことがございまして。
よしさとこ、よく受けたね。よっしゃ、今日の部活は2人の外馬付きでやろう。
部活の種目より罰ゲームを何にするか考える方が楽しいのですよ。
確かに楽しいよな。聡子がどんな悲惨な目に遭うか今から想像できちまうぜ。
それは圭一さんのことでございましてよ。ブニーやりましたわね。ブニ
ほらほら2人とも勝負はまだ始まってないって。
Chie-sensei opened the door and came in.
皆さんお待たせしました。それでは帰りのホームルームを始めますよ。
Everybody headed to their seats.
みーちゃん、
何？
圭一くんとさとこちゃんがとても盛り上がっているところで申し訳ないんだけど、ごめんね。ちょっと今日も用事があってすぐ帰らないといけないの。
そうなの？もう用事じゃ仕方ないな。お家の仕事？
うん。
家事ってんじゃおじさんは口出しできないな。うちはお手伝いさんに全部任せっきりだからね。
たまにはみーちゃんも家事手伝いとかすればいいのに。きっと花嫁修行になるよ。
ご安心を。万事その手のスキルに関してはつつがなく習得済みですので。
Mi-chan looks like the kind of girl who tries to stay away from chores as much as possible, but she can actually do everything. That's just who she is. She went through hard times to learn those things, but she acts like she's learned them without any struggle. That's also who she is. I like that about her.
帰っちゃうのかよ。
あら、圭一さんが恥ずかしい格好で職員室にお伺いしなくちゃならないところをご覧になりませんの？見物なのに残念なのです。ごめんね。
昨日も家の用事だったじゃねえかよ。何かあったのか？
ちょっとね、もう何日かかかるかもしれない。
じゃあ当分レナは部活に参加できないかな。
かもしれない。なるべく早く復帰できるように頑張る。
その用事は俺たちには手伝えることか？
Oh no.
例えば古い家具を運び出すとか、そういう力仕事なら言ってくれ。
I don't think so.
応援に行くぜ。
I don't think that's a good idea.
家の模様替えとかかい？おじさんたちみんなで手伝うよ。
Not exactly.
レナさんの家のお手伝いで優劣起きそうのもありですわよね。多分お手伝いしない方が優勝なのです。みんなありがとう。気持ちだけもらっておくね。
じゃあ仕方ない。竜宮レナを本日付で我が部より戦線離脱とする。お家の仕事が片付くまで休暇とするので、英気回復の上再び戦線へ復帰することをここに命ずる。まあ4人なら4人で遊べるゲームもあるしね。そうだそうだ、ケイちゃんは麻雀とかできる？
おう、任せろ。
I've only played online mahjong.
親父の仕事関係の人たちの卓に無理やり混ぜられることもある。
もちろん私たちは麻雀だって精通していましてよ。
After that, they fooled around and made a lot of noise, just like they always did. I looked at them and reminded myself that I'd always have a place to return to. I left the classroom with a smile. I was going to Yaguichi on my bicycle. I had to find a place to bury the bags with the body parts. Hopefully I could finish burying all of them today before it gets dark. With that, everything will be over and done with.
パイの背中が竹だってのがなんだか怖いよな。まさかガンパイってことはないだろうな。
さて
And
どう
they
で
have
ございましょう
no
ね。
idea.
圭一さんには以前の
Oh boy.
時事抜きの時に手痛い思い出がございますものね。
まあ多少は傷もあるだろうね。安物のパイだしさ。そのくらいの要素がないと我が部らしくないでしょ。ヒヒヒヒヒ。
ミー、赤は何枚混ぜるのですか？6つ？
Mika-chan sounded professional, and it scared me. Oh well, I should start by checking the tiles. Playing mahjong with my family is different from playing it as a club activity. I have to be cautious. It's possible that one tile is missing or that there's an extra of a particular tile in here.
そんなことしないって。でも着想は面白いね。そういう手もあるか。なるほどなるほど。
よしよし、パイをみんな表にして並べてみよう。ほれほれほれ。
Everybody flip their tiles face up.
あれ、おい、誰かのとこにチュンが1個隠れてないか？
ピンズとソーズの6が1個ずつ足りないですわね。あら、マンズの6も1個足りませんでしたよ。
なんだなんだ？随分と足りないじゃないか。
ああ、そうだったそうだった。ちょいと待って。
Mion hit the palm of her hand with her fist, moving her chair aside and stuck her finger into a gap in the floorboards. She then pulled a tile out of there.
はいよ、まずはチュンね。
What are you hiding it in the floorboard for?
あとの3つはどこだったっけな。
おい待てみよ。どうして麻雀のパイが教室のあちこちに隠してあるんだよ。
にゃはははは。まあまあ。
She must have hidden the other 3 tiles somewhere in this classroom and forgot where. We couldn't play mahjong with 3 tiles missing. I suggested playing another game, but Mion insisted that we had to find them and suggested making that treasure hunt our game.
まあ確かに圭一さんと勝負をつけるなら種目は何でもいいわけでございますけど、もうちょっとまともな種目がいいですわね。
同感だな。それにこの教室に本当にあるかも怪しいんだろ。
多分あると思うんだよ。あるいはおじさんが懐にしまったまま帰っちゃって洗濯機の脇に置いてあるとかかな。
I recommend checking the total number of tiles after we play mahjong with Mion next time. Everybody except Mion nodded in agreement.
何よ、教室宝探し対決じゃ不満？
つうかミオンのイカ様の後始末だろ。お前の責任でやれ。部活を私的に使うな。
ブーブー。じゃあどうする？麻雀は無理だしね。他何する？である人。
As a club president, Mion usually decides what we'll play. I couldn't just come up with something on the spot. While we were all thinking, Mion hit her palm with her fist, just like she did earlier.
じゃあさみんな、パイの宝探しが嫌ならさ、もうちょっとでっかく宝探しをしようじゃない？宝探しといえばレナのお家芸。
ってことはダム現場のゴミ山か。
Oh shit! That's where Rena's hiding the body parts. That's not good. That's not good at all.
あそこってあんまり行ったことないんですけど、
Oh
結構
no.
広いですわよね。
Oh no, no, no.
あそこはバラバラ殺人の幽霊が出るから近寄らない方がいいらしいのですよ。
This is not good.
幽霊上等じゃないの。そのくらいの演出つかないと宝の山としてはインパクト弱いよね。
へえ、そんな噂あるのかよ。確か主犯が未だ逃走中。そいつの隠した腕一本が未だ見つからないとか言うんだろ。
その腕を探して監督さんが幽霊になってさまよっているという噂があるのです。あらあらリカ、幽霊が嫌いなんですの？いいお年にもなって恥ずかしいですわね。僕は巫女ですから見たくなくても見えてしまうの
That's
ですよ。
fair.
うわ、なんだよそれ。確かに見える人には当たり前のように幽霊が見えるって話聞いたことあるな。
バカバカしいですわね。リカと一緒にずっと住んでますけど、そんなの一度も見たことありませんでしたよ。さとこに見えてないだけなのですよ。さとこがお布団で寝てるときはいつもニパ
ニパー。
リカ、そこで笑ってはぐらかさないでくださいませ。私が寝てるときは何なんですの？
I want to see the Nipa ghost. Satoko, I feel sorry for you. You can pretend you're not scared of ghosts during the day, but I'm pretty sure you get scared when it's dark. I'm gonna have to make a silent phone call tonight just to scare the hell out of you.
まあ私も含めてなんだけど、ダム戦争の後に好き好んであそこに出入りする人はいないんじゃないかね。レナくらいだよ、楽しそうにあそこで遊んでるのは。
レナのカーイーモードの前に幽霊が出た日には
She said it might take her a few days too, so she's probably not done.
確かにありそうですわね。
Oh no. This is gonna go bad.
お持ち帰りーって。
It was so easy to imagine that all of us laughed.
じゃあ決まり、今日はゴミ山探検にしよう。幽霊を見つけられたら優勝。辞典は隠された右腕。その次はじゃあレナが気に入りそうな何かだね。レナに見せて白黒をつけてもらうってことでどうよ。
私は優勝で、ケイチさんはビリで、ダブル罰ゲームが楽しみですわね。
おいおい、サトコいいのかよ。優勝ってことは幽霊。
ちょっとやめてくださいませ。暑苦しいですわ。僕もお化けが怖いので行きたくないのです。
Even though she can see them.
もとは何ですの？もとは、私は全然怖くなんかありませんわよ。ゲイチさん、お話遊ばせ。
では行くよ諸君、出撃準備。
Oh no. And it'll be over with. Everything will be over and done with. Yes, it will be over when the Higurashi cry. Oh, we got a name drop. Title drop. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Oh no. I'm scared. Mm-mm. What? Rena finished making her confession. There was no applause or curtain call. It was quiet and lonely stage that Rena performed on alone. I think I'd forgotten to blink since her confession started. Everyone else seemed to be feeling the same way. So this was all leading back to this moment where she was... Rena looked at us, like she was a teacher waiting for questions from her students. We noticed that she was imitating what Chie-sensei does at the end of class, and we all smiled bitterly.
さっきまでね、袋を埋める場所を探しに。絶対見つからない場所に隠そうと思うと、なかなかいい場所が見つからないの。自分の家の庭に埋める方がむしろ安心じゃないかななんて。でもそれじゃあやっぱり危ないよね。お父さんが突然家庭菜園をやりたいなんて言い出すかもしれないもん。やっぱり遠くの山奥がいい。あの女をたとえ死んだ後でもお父さんに近づけたくなかったし。
I felt like I did something very bad. Brenda's plan was going smoothly. If only I'd hunted for the mahjong tiles instead of insisting on doing something else, this wouldn't have happened. When I looked at the others, they all seemed to be regretting their actions too. If Mion hadn't come up with the idea to play at the garbage dump, Satoko hadn't found the broken refrigerator. Oh, they found them! Oh, shit. If Rika-chan had convinced us not to go, Rena could have had a few more days, and she could have gotten rid of these trash bags. They never would have been found. What would have happened next? Nothing. If everything would have remained the same. We could have kept having happy and peaceful days. Rena had been through a hard time, but she'd been forcing her face into a smile for us. The fake smile was supposed to become a real smile one day. None of us were supposed to notice that Rena was going through a hard time. After a while, Rena was supposed to be able to forget the bitter memory of killing these two. She was supposed to live as if nothing had happened. But now all of her effort, all of her courage, had been ruined.
人殺しはいけないことだってことは
But in the
私だって知
first
ってるよ
arc, she doesn't kill. They don't find the bodies or have this scene, so I'm confused. Like, how is this a part of the story if it didn't bring
したく
this?
なんかなかったしこれからだってしたくないと思ってる
Because if this scene would have happened, I would assume Keiichi would have said something about it.
でもねこれが最善の努力だったって信じてるし私は悪いことをしたなんてこれっぽっちも思ってない私は幸せで平穏な生活を取り戻すために神様から与えられた等しいチャンスの中で最大限に努力しただけ
Yeah, you used a lot of effort, alright.
製品であれば
That's for sure.
不幸せでもいいなんてのは満たされた人間の綺麗事だよその精一杯は世界中の誰にだってけなせない
I mean, you kind of have a point.
むしろ私を褒めてほしいくらい
I mean, I'm not gonna praise you for killing people, but those two deserved to die. They were assholes.
称えてほしいくらい竜宮レナは自らの運命と戦ったそして打ち勝った
I
don't know why I did it, but I interrupted her. I shouldn't have. But I thought I needed to tell her this, so I did.
でもレナ、どうして俺たちに相談してくれなかったんだよ。
相談？
そうだよ。俺たちは仲間だろ。仲間ってのは何があっても無条件で味方になってくれる家族同然の存在じゃないのかよ。俺たちに相談してくれれば何かの力になれたかもしれない。
Friends help friends bury bodies,
そう
guys.
すればレナは自分の手を汚さずに済んだかもしれない。
Rena told us made me sad. I couldn't help myself from saying that to her. Rena told us straight that she did the best she could. She told us that right to our faces. That's the same thing as saying that she didn't need us in order to do the best she could.
ケイちゃん、今はそんなこと言っても。
いや、頼む。言わせてくれ。喜びだって苦しみだって分け合うのが俺はだから。レナが相談してくれたらきっと今よりもより良い未来へたどり着けていたと信じてる。
今よりより良い未来？そんなのないよ。これが最善の未来だよ。
嘘だな。
My shout seemed to scare her a little. I knew that Rena didn't believe this was the best possible future. She just didn't have any other choice. If she had any other choices, she definitely wouldn't have chosen this one.
だってその証拠にレナはさっきから泣いてるじゃないか。
はあ？誰が？私が？いつ涙を流したの？
今だよ。ずっと流してるじゃないか。自分で分かってないのか？
In fact, I didn't see any tears in her eyes or on her face at all, but that didn't mean she wasn't crying. Rena was crying. She was crying because she was driven into a corner after all the hard work she did to become happy. Her tears looked so sad. Anyone who could see those tears wasn't really thinking about her.
私は泣かないよ。誰が泣くものか。私は正しいことをした。最善の選択をした。それでどうして泣かなくちゃならないの？ケイチのバカバカ。何を言ってるか全然わかんないや。
それが泣いてるって言ってんだよ。
Such a thing as way overforcing your happiness, which is exactly what she's doing. Rena stopped laughing all of a sudden, and she spoke with a cold expression on her face.
じゃあいいよ。ケイチ君の言った通りにしたとしてみよう。私がみんなにお父さんとあの女のことを打ち明けた。さあ、どうしてくれるの？
まずは、
まずは何？
Rena had never talked to me like this before. It was as if she was mocking my ignorance, and that made me shut my mouth.
ケイチ君は去年を知らないんだよ。
去年？
そう。去年。 昭和57年6月、私と同じように人を殺めることでしか抜けられない不幸の迷宮に閉じ込められた人のお話を。
Satoko gasped.
圭一くんはあまり知らないよね、北条聡くんのことは。
I know that he's Satoko's older brother. He's been missing, but people say he transferred. There's a rumor that he killed his aunt for Satoko's sake. Therefore, it's been taboo to talk about Satoshi in my class, actually, in all of Hinamizawa.
聡くんもね、私と同じだった。ただ幸せで平穏な日々が欲しかっただけ。妹と静かに暮らせる生活が欲しかっただけ。圭一くんも去年殺された聡子ちゃんのおばさんがどういう人だったかは噂聞いてるよね。
If what I've heard is true, this is what happened. After Satoko lost her parents, her uncle and aunt got custody of her and her brother, but they were miserable people. Her aunt was especially cruel to Satoko. Sochi was the kind of guy who wouldn't even hurt a fly, but his aunt probably was the one whom he didn't have a problem killing. That's how terrible a person she was.
北条家のトラブルはね、ひなみ沢では誰もが知っていたんだよ。おばさんがヒステリックで誰彼関係なく食ってかかることも、サトシ君とサトコちゃんを意味もなくいじめていたことも全部ね。もちろんクラスの誰もが知っていた。御三家の当主跡継ぎであるみーちゃんとリカちゃんだってもちろん知ってたし、サトコちゃんに至っては当事者だもんね。圭一君の言う仲間たちはひなみ沢の誰よりもよくサトシ君の辛さを分かっていたはずなんだよ。
There were a few times they did try to help, like when Satoko was going through issues, but none of those ever worked. It just made it worse.
それで結果はどうだった？
Because the freaking
誰かがサトシ君を
law
助けて
system
くれ
is
た？
so messed up.
誰も助けなかった。みーちゃんは一番力があるくせに村のしがらみがどうとかよくわからない理由で煙に巻いて、結局無責任な同情の言葉をかけて傷つけるだけだった。
そんなことはないよ。
嘘だ。
Oh boy,
サトシ
there's
君は
that
分かっ
face.
てたよ。みーちゃんが口ぶりだけは同情してるふりをしながらも全然助ける気がないことを分かってた。だからサトシ君はね、途中からみーちゃんのことを嫌うようになったんだよ。普段は仲間だとか友達だとか言っておきながら、結局は北条家をいじめる園崎家の一味でしかなかったってね。
Oh, absolutely. If you've seen, I think it was the third arc, yeah, with Satoko. Satoko and, oh my god, Satoko's arc, that is just absolutely crushing. The things that they did to her, oh my god.
私は別に。
They're absolutely the scum of the earth.
何も救わずに放置した。サトシ君の助けてほしい思いを同情という言葉で拒絶したんだ。それがどれほどサトシ君を傷つけたか分かってる？
Yon tried to find something to say, but failed to do so. She bit her lip instead.
それはリカちゃんも同じだよね。
Now Rena was pointing fingers at Rika-chan. Unlike Mion, Rika-chan looked emotionless and empty, just like Rena did.
リカちゃんは確かにみーちゃんに比べたらその発言力は微々たるものかもしれない。でも神社に出入りしてるお年寄りたちにとても大きな発言力を持っていたはずだよ。リカちゃんにもできる努力があったのにしなかった。リカちゃんも結局はみーちゃんと同じ。哀れみの表情を浮かべて小娘を装っただけだった。するのはサトシ君やサトコちゃんを慰めるだけ。その根本原因に対して何の手も差し伸べようとしなかった。そんな無慈悲な哀れみがどれほど残酷だったか想像できる？サトシ君が欲しかったのは救いだった。誰かに助けて欲しかった。自分の力だけではどうしても抜け出せない苦境だったから。首まで沈もうとする沼の中で精一杯手を伸ばして誰かに掴んでもらうことを期待していたんだよ。
But it's like one of those things that's like, how do you help, you know? Like, there's so many times that, like, people tried to, like, call the cops or call, you know, like, everything else, and none of them ever worked. It's like, what are you supposed to do, you know?
そうね。
Riken-chan's voice sounded mature. It was very different from how she usually
サ
sounded.
トシたちを救う方法がわからなかったから慰めることしかしなかった。それにかまけ救う何かを探し続けなかった罪は否定しないわ。
分かってるじゃない。
Rena gave her a twisted smile. That ugliness caused me to look away.
そしてさとこちゃん、あなたに信じられるかわからないけれど、あなたの罪はとても重い。
I didn't understand why she was blaming Satoko. I tried to take her side, but I gasped in surprise when I looked at her. I know, it really is. She looked like she was accepting the sin that Rena had mentioned. Satoko must have wanted to confess her sin before Rena pointed it out to her. So Satoko opened her mouth first.
信じてくださるかどうかはわかりませんけど、ちゃんと気づいてますのよ、その罪。
そうなんだ。
ニーニーがいなくなってしまったあの夜に気づき、それをどうしてニーニーがいるうちに気づけなかったのか。
わかるよ、その気持
She
ち。
blames herself for his disappearance and for him getting her in her place for protecting her.
後悔した時にはもう遅いというのは私も同じだったから。だから私は同じことがもう一度起こったから今度は戦った。さとこちゃんのその罪はきっと将来あがなえるよ。その罪に気づけたならきっとね。
それでももうニーニーは帰ってきませんのね。
Satoko looked down sadly. Usually Satoko would say the opposite. She always said that Satoshi was coming back one day without a doubt, but now she accepted the fate that he would never return. She accepted it easily as if she knew it already, because he's her brother.
ね。
Now I'm sad! She asked me all of a
これが
sudden.
私と同じ苦境にいた昭和57年のみんな。サトシ君は自分を助けてくれそうな人たちにはみんなに全てを話したよ。助けてほしいと言ったし、辛いとも言った。打ち明けた、相談した。転校してきたばかりの私にまでね。それはみっともないことじゃない。本当に不幸な人はね、必死なんだよ。サトシ君は自分でも懸命に頑張ってた。それでもどうにもならないからみんなに助けを求めた。ずっと求めてた。でもね、これが圭一君の言う無条件で味方になってくれる仲間たちの体たらくなんだよ。
Oof.
仲間なんて楽しくてどうでもいい時間を一緒に寄り合って過ごすだけのお友達。
Ouch, that hurts, man.
本当に辛い時に味方になってなんてくれないんだよ。
Ouch. I feel like you're stabbing me right now because I feel that a lot. Like, it's the sad truth. Like, there's only so much you can do to ease someone else's pain, but it also a lot of times feels like, you know, that they're not really there when you need them most. And yeah, it's just, I feel that on a personal level.
昔からそうだったよ。引っ越し先でもそうだったからね。だから私、自分がサトシ君と同じ状況になったと知った時、私は仲間に打ち明けるのなんかやめようってね。だってどうせ誰も助けてくれないし助けられないものなら、同情なんて気がめいるだけなんだよ。せめて学校にいる間くらい楽しく過ごした方が気が紛れていいかもしれないもの。実際みんなと楽しく過ごす学校の時間は楽しかったよ。
The problem is when someone's really going through like a really bad struggle, it's like there's no really easy solution, and it's not something that's going to be solved, you know, with the flip of a hand, like, oh, there it is, you know, the miracle solution that, you know, because if it was that simple, it wouldn't be something they would be struggling so hard with, you know? So it's, if they can't even, you know, fix their own situation, you know, how is someone else gonna try to help when they really are, you know, don't know the situation that well, especially? That's the hard part. It's like, what are you supposed to do?
とっても幸せだった。あの女たちとのトラブルをわずかの時間でも忘れることができて
本当によかった。サトシ君もそれに気づけていたらよかったね。そうだったなら学校での時間くらいは楽しく過ごせて、あそこまで心を追い詰めずに済んだかもしれない。どうせ自らの手でおばを殴り殺す以外に解決方法はなかったのだし。転校してきたばかりで村のこともほとんど覚えていない私には、サトシ君をどう助けてあげればいいかわからなかった。できるのは話を聞いてあげて、少しでも心を軽くしてあげるだけ。でもそれ以上に助けることができたのかもしれないし、私もその努力を怠っていたかもしれない。それなのに昭和57年の私はサトシ君と仲間のつもりだったんだよね。
Oh boy. Alright, now she's going a little bit nuts. There's the tears. Oh, what a pretty CG. That's gorgeous. Oh. I'm gonna fucking cry. Oh my god. I feel that so much. Oh my god. This poor girl. Oh my god. Rena's self-derisive laughter changed into grievous sobs. Her tears gradually wore away as our relationship of trust. Nobody will help me. Friends are just people whom you have fun with. You can't trust them. The more Rena cried, the clearer we heard her voice in her heart. Mio and Satoko and Riki-chan looked into the distance with sad expressions on their faces. I was the only one who could say anything back to her now. I had to tell her this. She knew it too. She just needed to hear it from someone. I braced myself to tell her something that might hurt everybody.
よくわかったぜ、レナ。昭和57年のことはよくわかった。こいつらが白状だったってこともわかったさ。でもよ、サトコだって言ったろ。こいつらはみんな自分の罪に気がついた。後悔した。だから今度は違うはずだ。今度は仲間の苦しみを真に理解して助けてくれるはずなんだ。
去年いなかった人に言われても信憑性ないね。
ああ、そうだ。俺は去年いなかった。だから残念だぜ。去年の俺がサトシのために絶対に戦った。
You say that now, but no one else did, so I highly doubt you would have.
嘘だ。
嘘じゃねえ。俺はひなみ沢に来てからどれだけ仲間がかけがえのないものかを知った。だからそんな仲間たちを救うためなら俺はどこまでも戦うぜ。サトコやサトシをいじめるおばがそんなにもうぜえやつならサトシになんかもったいねえ。この俺が叩き殺してやった。ものの1500秒でだ。
The thing is, that's actually true. He did that. In Arc 3, he did that. Instead of with the aunt, though, he did it to the uncle, who came back to terrorize them after the aunt has been dead already for a year. He did kill him. Because he wanted Satoko to have a happy life, and it ended in tragedy.
躊躇なんかしねえぞ。速攻だ。学校の倉庫あたりから金属バットの一本もちょろまかして即ぶっ殺してた。
口先だけならどうとでも言えるね。人を殺すのにどれだけの思い切りがいるかも知らないくせに。
知らねえし知る必要もねえな。仲間を救う以上の義務がどこにあるってんだ。
ケイチ君は全然分かってない。人を殺すことがどれだけ汚らわしい行為で、どれだけ自らを美化しようとも決して振り払えない汚れであることを分かってない。
そうだな。確かに仲間を救うためでも直ちに人殺しってのは短絡的すぎるよな。レナの言い分に相反するようで悪いけど、 悪いことに悪いことで立ち向かうってのは多分うまくいかないようにできていると思うんだ。仲間のためなら人殺しだって厭わないその精神だけは立派だ。だけどな、悪いことで得た平穏ってのは絶対に長く続いたりしないんだ。
True.
それを人は本能的に知ってるから悪いことを嫌うんじゃないかと思うんだ。
何それ。圭一君が何を口走ってるのかよくわかんないよ。
Damn, he's actually making more sense than he ever has in his entire life. Like, I am appalled. She didn't have to tell me that. I was aware I wasn't making any sense. But, for some reason, I could easily imagine a world like that. A world in which I saved my precious friends by committing an evil act. The peace I seized by doing that evil deed didn't last long. It got worse, and ended in a way as terrible as the sin I committed. This was a memory that shouldn't exist. I don't know why, but I know for a fact that it happened, in that world of possibility.
すまん、俺も自分で何を言ってるのか意味がわからなくなった。
For some weird reason, I couldn't prevent myself from smiling in embarrassment even in a situation like
でも
this.
レナは分かってるはずだ。
He did always do some sort of, like, evil deed, didn't he? Now that I'm thinking back on it. Except for, like, Arc 4, that was, like, a more of a backstory arc thing. Because in the third arc, he killed the uncle. Trying to think. Trying to think, like, the second arc, he, like, absolved Mion, who was actually Shion, of, like, all her guilt. And then in the first arc, he, like, betrayed his friends because he was scared of them. So...
だから自らの手を汚すほかなかった運命を
Yeah, it is kind of
助けて
true.
欲しかった俺たちを嘆いてるんじゃないか。レナは殺人者になんかなりたくなかったんだ。これが最善の選択だったなんて絶対嘘なんだ。だからさっきからずっと泣き続けているんじゃないか。
そうだ嘘だ嘘だ嘘だ、そんなのは嘘だ。
嘘かどうかはお前が一番知ってるんじゃねえか。最初から後悔してるんだろ。たとえ誰にも知られることなく死体を隠せたとしたって一生両手についた血は落とせないんだ。そんな十字架を背負って生きていく苦痛をどうやってごまかす。一つしかない、これしか方法がなかったと思い込むことだけじゃないか。それはつまり仲間に相談する価値がないって思うこと、仲間を一生否定し続けるってことだぞ。レナにとって俺たちはその程度の存在だったのか。違うだろ。本当に助け合える関係なのが仲間だってことを。確かに去年の仲間たちはまだ未熟だった。だからサトシを不幸な運命から救えなかった。でも人は成長するんだ。ミスは二度と犯さないし後悔は二度と繰り返さない。だから信じろ、俺たちは仲間だ。お前の一番の味方なんだ。
つまりそれは私も未熟だったってこと？
そうだ、仲間たちが日々成長していることを信じられなかったレナも未熟だ。だがそれを責める気はないぜ。俺たちだってレナが一人悩むのを今日まで気づけなかった。人は語り合うことでしか胸の内を明かせない。だから今日のこの場までは仕方がなかったことかもしれない。そういう意味では言いたくはないが、今日という日がレナにとって最善の選択の向こうにあったことを認めざるを得ないかもしれない。でも俺たちは今この場になってレナが去年からずっと持っていた不信感も俺たちが持っていた後悔も全部吐き出し合った。だから俺たちは今こそようやく本当の意味での仲間になれたんだよ。
本当に今更だね。いつも罪は手遅れになってから気づかされる。
そうでもねえさ。例えば俺は仲間であるレナの今回のこの出来事を 理解できる。
理解できるって。
人の命を奪うのは許されることじゃないっていう。でもそれを理解した上で仲間であるレナがこうするほかなかったことを理解する。
I am just in awe of this whole conversation. Like, I'm not talking at all because I'm just like trying to digest all of this that is happening right now.
だから俺はレナを汚らわしいと思わないし恐ろしいとも思わない。次に同じようなことがあったら今度はこういう結果にならないように悩み合おう。だけどすでに起こってしまったこの出来事を俺は理解ってのはつまり許すということだ。俺はレナのこの行為を否定したりしない。
I said that to everybody this time. I said it to all my
俺は
friends.
レナのやったこの出来事を受け入れる。これしかどうしようもなくて悩み抜いた上で至った最後の最後の手段だったってことを受け入れる。だから俺はレナに協力しようと思う。
ケイちゃん。
もちろん殺した理由が金目当てだとかそんなくだらねえのだったら警察へ叩き出してやってるぜ。
Absolutely. Like, I still don't think what she did was good, obviously, but it's like that's a hard situation to deal with, you know? It's like, how do you get out of that?
だけどな、レナはそんな気持ちでやったんじゃない。どうしても逃げられなくて悩み抜いた末に至った今日なんだ。レナの罪はそこに至るまでに俺たちに相談しなかったことを。だけどそれを俺は許す。だから今日に至ったその行為も俺は許す。
圭一。
だからみんなもレナも今日に至るまでそれに気づけずレナを一人で悩ませた俺を許してくれ。それが今日を招いた俺の罪だ。
圭一さん。
このヤバい袋の山を知ったのは俺たち全員が秘密にすればそれでおしまいだ。レナは何も気にすることはない。最初の予定通りにこの袋をどこかに隠しちまおうぜ。そして全員で塩でお清めでもして一丁上がりだ。そしたら俺たちは全ての罪を許し合おう。そして取り戻そうぜ本当に平穏な日々を。
It's not gonna go that smoothly.
これだろう。
Oh.
レナが本当に選びたかった未来ってやつはこっちなんだろう。最善の選択肢は。
圭一君。
I jumped on the hood of the abandoned car Rena was standing on. I reached for her hands.
認めろ。こっちが本当にレナが来たかった世界なんだよ。レナが本当に選びたかった選択肢なんだよ。確かにこの選択肢はレナ一人だけじゃ選べない。レナと俺たちが互いに手を差し伸べ合ってしか選べないんだ。つまり俺だけが差し伸べても意味がないんだよ。俺だけじゃない、みんなが差し伸べる。だからレナ、お前も手を伸ばせ。それで互いに手をつかみ合って初めてお前は本当に選びたかった選択肢の向こうの世界に行けるんだよ。
圭一君の言葉は
Wow.
本当なら嬉しいよ。
Those are some powerful words. Holy crap.
でもみんなもそうだとは限らないよ。
A little hand touched mine. It was Rika-chan.
リカちゃん。
レナは決して汚れてなんかいない。あなたは決して屈しなかった。そしてこんなにも泥だらけになりながら京都、そんなあなたをどうして私は認めずにいられるのか。
I don't know everything about Rika, but there's a lot more going on with her than I realize. Rika-chan's small hand was strong. She spoke eloquently.
私は逃れられない不幸の迷宮に飲まれ全てに失望する堕落の心地よさを知っている。
If I lose connection, there's a big storm that just, powered up outside, so.
だからこそたった一人で屈することなく戦い続け今日を得たあなたのたくましさが理解できる。
Rika is very complicated.
そんなあなたが身近にいることを
I think that's also why she's my favorite
誇りに思う。
character, though.
私も圭一と同じ。
Oh, I'm fine. I'm inside. It's just I might lose power or, you know, Wi-Fi or something.
あなたの罪を許す。だからあなたも私の罪を許してほしい。リカちゃん。私は無力な小娘だけれどきっと戦えた。自分も運命に屈しないレナのように戦う。だから私をあなたの仲間として許してもらいたい。
Rika-chan usually acts childish, but now she was like a totally different person. She meant every word she was saying. And then another little hand reached out to ours. I hate when she makes that face. This tormented child.
サトコ。
Tuko put her hand over mine and Rika-chan's. She didn't say anything, looking down for a while. Rika-chan urged her to speak.
私もリカも両親を失って一人ぼっちですけれど今日までそれを嘆いたことはありませんでしたよ。皆さんという仲間という家族がいたから。私はこれからも皆さんとレナさんと仲間という名の家族でありたいと思っていますのよ。
Hi, Jaji. We're having the very passionate like friend scene right now. Very emotional. You know, I fight for my friends and all of that.
家族同士だからこそ時には全てを打ち明け合うのは当然ですわ。だから今日はいいきっかけになったと思ってますの。互いの罪を許し合う機会が恵まれたことに感謝いたしましたよ。
仲間という名の家族か。さとこにしちゃいい例えだな。
レナさんの罪を許しますわ。どうか私の罪も許してくださいませ。
A big hand reached out for ours. It was Mion's.
仲間の大切さを語るのは部長である私の役目だと思ってただけに、いやはや私も部長失格かななんて。
ミオ。
ごめん、ふざけたね。
Mion still smiled and scratched her head.
レナの境遇を察しなかったことを仲間として部長として恥じるよ。許してほしい。もちろんレナが私たちに相談しなかったことも許すよ。それは私が打ち明けるに足る存在じゃなかったってことだからね。私はリーダーであらねばと日々努力しているはずなのに全然至ってなかった。その未熟さは私だから、レナの罪を許す。
レナ、俺たちは全員手を重ねて差し伸べたぞ。こっちは全部揃った。あとはお前だけなんだ。手を伸ばせ。こっちへ来い。お前が本当に来たかった世界はもう手は全員が差し伸べてる。だからためらうな。
レナは人殺しだよ。きっとみんなに迷惑をかけるよ。レナ、私たちは。
リカちゃん、もう余計なことは言わなくていい。俺たちは全員で手を重ねて差し伸べている。この事実にこれ以上上塗りする言葉はない。だからレナにだって言葉はいらないんだ。ただ黙ってこっちへ手を伸ばせばいいんだ。来いレナ。夢とか幻とかじゃない。ましてや手遅れでも何でもない。レナにはまだ選べる選択肢が残ってるんだ。だから選べ。間に合う。来るんだ。俺たちはやり直せるんだ。
Rena slowly reached out, and her hand touched ours. She didn't hold our hands. All she needed to do was to touch our hands to show us her will. Rena chose to live, to share her life with her friends, rather than to refuse them for the rest of her life. I took a step closer to her and firmly grabbed her wrist. It was getting dark, and some stars had appeared in the sky. We all forgave each other for our sins for the first time. And it was a little embarrassing, but Rena's tears made us all cry. We just kept crying together. We stood in a circle, holding each other by the shoulder and putting our heads together in the middle. We are a family made of friends. We forgave each other, and we're happy together. There's a memory in the back of my mind, but it's not supposed to exist. I tried to save one of my friends in that world. In order to do that, I rejected all of my other friends. I acted recklessly alone, and I brought about the end of the world. The situation we had here is the same as the incident in that faraway world, in the sense that people have been deprived of their lives in order to save one friend of mine. But other than that, it was different. We have Rena, Mion, Satoko, Rika-chan, and myself. Nobody was missing. We were going to regain them. We were going to regain those happy and peaceful days. The road going there might be a little rough, but we'll walk it together. We all will. That was so powerful. Oh my god. So is he saying that this is an alternate reality from the first arc? Because in the first arc, he betrays all of his friends. But he's not in this one. So I'm very, very, very confused on what is happening and how it's linked, because this is supposed to be an answer arc, and the last chapter was an answer arc that explained, you know, what was going on behind the scenes of arc 2 with Mion and Shion, and it, like, gave you the back, you know, the other side of the story that you didn't get to see as Keiichi. So it explored that entire arc from another perspective. But this one doesn't seem to be doing that with arc 1, because the plot, like, all of this is not in arc 1. So I'm confused on where it's actually fitting, but I guess I'll find out as I go, question mark? I'm always confused in this game. This is not a new thing. So I'm always constantly speculating and asking questions. We went to the place in the mountains of Yagoichi that Rena had picked for burying the bags. Yeah, I thought that too, Rennie. I was like, she's gonna kill them all, bury their bodies, but apparently no. We have bonding friendship moment and everything is fine. Carrying corpses is a scary thing to do, but it made us united more strongly because of that. Since each part of the corpses is in a separate plastic trash bag, we could tell what's inside in each bag by touching it. First, we forced ourselves to laugh whenever we had to touch the bodies because we were scared. But after a while, we got used to it, to the point where we could make jokes about it. Of course, all that was probably a bluff, but we all tried our best. Mion somehow had detailed knowledge of how to hide corpses, and she told me to dig the hole deeper. Of course she did. Rika-chan helped to carry the bags. Stoko used her talent of setting traps to perfectly camouflage the place where we buried the bags. Me? I was in charge of digging the hole. Rena dug it earlier, but I made it a little deeper. After we finished all that, we walked back to the place where we parked our bicycles, and we looked back at the place where we buried the bags. It was completely unnoticeable. We'd never be able to find that place again once we left for home. That's how perfect it looked.
Yossha! Minna o tsukare san! これでおしまいだね。
Somehow that's gonna get unburied, though.
帰ろ帰ろ。
I just know it? Mion said it cheerfully, as if we just finished club activities or something. We had no more bags to carry, and we no longer had any burden to carry either. We got on our bicycles, but Rena was still standing there, looking into the distance.
Oi, Rena.
あ、ごめん。ちょっと熱が出ちゃったみたいで、なんかぼーっとする。
Rena's face looked slightly red. Mion touched Rena's forehead. It actually was a little warm. She had a tough day today. She had to go through so many things. She had to find a place to hide the corpses. She had to dig a hole. We caught her with the bags. We talked about our feelings. And we forgave each other. She must be exhausted after a day like that.
今日は帰ったらゆっくり休め。
うん、ありがとう。 そうするね。
レナ、私たちはもう全部許し合ったんだよ。だから自分を責めちゃダメだからね。
やっぱりみんなの言う通りだったよ。
何がだ？
やっぱり私、自分を騙せてなんかなかった。どう自分の行為を美化したって、私は心の中で恐ろしいことをしたとみんなに助けてもらってここまで来てこんななんだもん。もしみんなと会わずに一人で全てを片付けていたら、私は耐えきれず潰されてしまったかもしれない。
She said all this with a bitter smile. It might take her a long time to heal from the pain, but it must be 100 times shorter than the time it would have taken if she did this all alone. Rena's home was the closest from here. Rena went her way and the four of us were left behind. Mio made a suggestion.
明日からなんだけどさ、みんな揃って今日のことを忘れるのがいいと思うんだけど、どう思う？
そうですわね。それが一番レナさんにとって優しいことになると思いますわ。レナは強い人です。僕たちがそう振る舞えばレナもそう振る舞ってくれますですよ。
振る舞いもずっと続けてれば本当になるって言うもんな。
語らないことでそのうち私たちは忘れていくよ。そして完全に忘れきった時が私たちのゴールだね。
おそらくその日は一生かけて来るか来ないかを探ることになると思いますです。そうかもしれませんわね。簡単に忘れられることではありませんでしたよ。
仮に生涯忘れられなくてもいい。大切なのは最後まで全員の胸にしまって秘めておくことなんじゃないかと思う。
思い出させない方が大事だからね。
We nodded in agreement, just as my house came into view.
じゃあな、みんな。明日また学校でいつもの通りに。
いつもの通りに。いつも通りにトラップに引っかかり遊ばせですわね。
じゃあね、ケイちゃん。
After I parted with them, I still felt hot and dizzy. It felt really weird. I was even staggering to the front door. Felt as if I was floating in the air, like I just took some very strong cold medicine. Today, something very shocking, something that made me super happy, and something very embarrassing happened to me. I felt as if my heart and mind were about to explode because they were filled to the brim with both happiness and sadness. I don't know whether I made a crucial mistake today, or if I had had the happiest day of my life. I don't know which it is, and all I could do was to stare blankly into space. I felt frustrated, too. Even though they were my friends, I was caught in the act of abandoning the corpses. But at the same time, I felt relieved that my reliable friends accepted what I did. Those emotions were all mixed up in my head, and they were equally strong, making it difficult for me to decide what I was feeling. I was losing my sense of balance. It was like the world was warping around me. I heard sounds as if I was in a shower. Everything left me with a feeling of unreality. When those emotions were about to make me lose control, I felt a heat on my wrist. The part where Keiichi-kun grabbed me earlier started throbbing. My feelings weren't cooperating with me, but the heat on my wrist calmed them down for me. I don't know how to express what I felt when my friends and I held shoulders together in a circle earlier, but the feeling was the only thing I knew to be real.
ただいま。あれ？
As soon as I opened the front door, I smelled it. It smelled really good. Oh, I thought she was gonna be like, she smelled her perfume again, and I was gonna be like, the fuck? My father isn't good at cooking, but he likes trying to cook creative dishes. I remember he used to cook something very challenging whenever he was in a good mood. So this smell was a sign that he felt that way. That's why I always liked this smell. The reason he's in a good mood is because he found a job. Not just any job, he found a job with a company created by friends from his old workplace. They remembered my father and promised to hire him. He told me that some of his other colleagues from the old company are also working there. It must be very encouraging for him to work with people he knows, because he hasn't worked for a long time. Well, that's nice. The dinner looked great, in contrast to how it tasted. It was a dinner to celebrate his new life, to show his determination to regain his bond with his daughter, and to make a clean start. I talked about a lot of things with my father that night. It had been a long time since the last time I talked with him like this. I don't remember when it was, but it reminded me of the days I was still happy. Which meant that I'd finally returned to that time. My father still believes that Teppei is coming back one day, so he's still very cautious when locking the doors and windows, and he gets scared every time someone rings the doorbell. I told him so many times they'd never come back, but I couldn't convince him because I couldn't tell him the reason why they won't. He'll eventually realize that he's free. I'm sure it won't take too long. My heart was full of many, many emotions that day. If emotions could actually burst a heart open, it might happen to me. My brain must have been overworked because so many things happened at once. My head was still fuzzy, but I managed to crawl into bed. I felt like the ground was moving. I totally lost my sense of reality. I remember that I once felt like this when I got the flu. I might get a high fever tomorrow, but I don't care. I don't care if I get sick tomorrow. I just wanted to enjoy the fact that I took a step towards the future of my decision. Keiichi-kun told me something like that today. The high fever and the dizziness made me feel frustrated for some reason. And whenever I felt frustrated, I felt the heat on my wrist, too. I grabbed my wrist with my left hand tightly. It made the frustration go away, and it brought me relief. Even the dizziness I didn't like just before made me feel like I was in a down-filled futon. I was falling asleep in that down-filled futon on my first night in a new world. This dizziness didn't go away for a few days, but I gradually got used to it. This new world looked like the world I used to live in before. The sunshine was a little bit brighter, and Keiichi-kun's smile looked a little bit more gentle than before. We made more noise than we used to. We spent every day slowly, but in high spirits. Oh, what an idiot I am. I underestimated that dizziness, and I caught a summer cold in June. I wanted to get better as soon as possible. I should have taken a day off from club activities, but I forced myself to play with them every day, and that made it hard for me to get better. I finally learned my lesson recently. I don't need to feel frustrated. There's no limit to happiness in this world. As long as we keep wishing for it, it'll continue forever. I don't need to feel frustrated anymore because tomorrow I will have the happiness I have today. We'll have the Watanagashi Festival next Sunday. Oh no, that's where it all goes wrong. Mii-chan tells us that we'll have a lot of fun and that we'll go extra crazy. I really can't wait. How about we not have the Watanagashi Festival? Because every time we have the festival, something goes wrong and more people die. So how about we just not, and we continue on with our lives, you know? You know? Oh no. Letter from the forestry office. Oh no. Oh no, this can't be good. It's still June, yet the air is filled with the cries of cicadas. How is everyone in Hinamizawa doing? The Watanagashi Festival is coming just around the corner. We staff members from the Forestry Service are going to perform a wood sculpting demonstration at the festival. We'll be happy to lend out our tools and teach your kids how to sculpt wood themselves. It'll be an excellent memorial gift. Also, we would like to inform everyone that we're going to cut down trees in the local hills this summer. Oh no. As part of the blah 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 4th Forest Landscape Management Project. This project involves preserving the beauty of the forest by cutting down old oh no! They're gonna dig up the body parts! No! They're gonna break the trees and find the bodies! Oh no! No! That's not good! That's not good at all. The Forestry Service needs volunteers who are interested in helping us cut down the old trees. You can enjoy the beauty of nature under the blue sky while helping out with this preservation activity. The project will begin during summer break, so you can bring your kids too. This will be a good opportunity for your kids to learn about nature and have a valuable experience. Oh no. The locations of the project are the forests in the Takatsudo and Yagaochi areas. Oh no! That's not good. That's not good at all. Oh no. Oh boy. So that's ominous. They always end the chapter with something ominous. Oh my god, this took me for a loop. So we got some murders, and then suddenly the friends are fine with it, and they're like, alright, we're gonna be friends forever, don't worry about it. And they hid the bodies together, and now the Forestry Service is gonna find them, and... my brain. This game, every time. See what I mean? It's like, okay, everything's good, everything's perfect, everything's fine, and then suddenly, like a snap of a finger, it's not fine anymore. And then goes down. Yeah, bring the family for the forest murder. Oh my god. Damn. Well, that's where Keiichi hid the other body in Arc 3, so apparently it's a popular place to hide bodies where everyone does, you know. Nothing ever turns out well here. This is Hinamizawa. Oh my god, nothing in this town ever works out in good ways. Oh my goodness. I'm still confused too, because this first arc is not, the first arc, which is supposed to be read as arc, is not aligning with this one. So I'm confused as to, like, how they match together. Because it's supposed to give you the answers, you know, to what is actually happening in all these arcs. But I'm not getting those answers here, so I'm a little bit confuzzled. But maybe I'm thinking about it wrong. Maybe they're not all answer arcs that explain everything that happens in these, you know, 3 arcs. But maybe they're new arcs that explain, you know, the backstories or different alternate realities that explain why that character is, you know, the way it is, you know, in that arc, I guess. I don't know. My brain is so confused. As always. This series always got my brain going a million directions. But yeah, let me switch over to my just chatting, and then I'll find someone to raid. Oof. Alright, that was a lot of things to digest. But, you know, it's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing is wrong. I'm making sure I save it again. Before I close out the game. Alright, cool. Let me find, Alright. I have a lot of people that I don't know that, I follow that are streaming. Asami's streaming. Let's do Asami again. I rated her last time, but you know what? I love Asami. So, she's a good friendo. She's also my Lit Club Vice President. She is streaming Brilliant Diamond, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, which I actually just finished recently, and I really enjoyed. So I hope everyone enjoys her stream. She's really nice. I really like her. You will be seeing her on my channel on Saturday for the Literature Club meeting. We're going to be talking about more mythology stuff and reading some more mythology stories. So yeah, you will see her around. But thanks everybody so much for coming to stream today. I've had a bit of a roller coaster kind of day, but I feel a lot better this evening, and I think my head's a lot clearer, and I think it's gonna be okay. Not in Hinamizawa or Higurashi. No. Nothing ever's gonna turn out well there. But in my world, I think everything's gonna turn out okay. It's just a lot for me to think about. So, but it'll be alright. But thanks everybody for coming to stream. Really appreciate it. I will be playing Higurashi again probably next week sometime. I'm gonna keep working on it until I finish it, because I am determined at this point to find all the answers and to finish the story, because I'm very invested and I want to see how this turns out. So, but yeah, I will see you all Saturday for the Lit Club. I may or may not stream tomorrow night, depending on how I feel after work. I was thinking about doing a, like, makeup writing stream, because I missed it yesterday and I played Deltarune instead, because my brain was dead. But, That's a little bit, I'm not sure yet, so I'll think about it, and if not, and if I don't do it this weekend, then I will do a writing stream next week to replace that, because I really want to do one of those. Yeah, and I might also, like, do a witchy stream where I talk about Wicca, because I did a meditation one, but I couldn't get any of the docs to pull up properly, the ebooks to pull up properly, so I could read them, so I want to kind of do that as well. So I might do another one next week to have that, because for some reason it wasn't working, and hopefully I can get it worked out by next time, so... But anyways, I'm gonna rate Asami. Thanks everybody so much for coming to stream, and I will see you all next time. Bye!